Welcome back, everybody. We are back for the penultimate time, not the final time just yet. The penultimate time here in the ALR 100% League Season 1. And is round 23 here in Monaco, of all places as well. What a way to end off, or almost end off the season. Like I said, a few people have expressed their concerns, I think, as they have been very scared of participating around this track. Thankfully, we've got enough drivers to get themselves going. So we'll be giving them our best shot around this famous circuit, of course. Let's see how it goes. Right then, we'll have to wait and see when we're loading in. I think we just about got started, so yeah, bear with us. I've got everybody in the session, I think. Let me just try and get the stream up as well. And we'll be ready to crack on for the qualifying here in Monaco. Like I said, the penultimate round of the season. There is still Constructors' Championships. It looks a bit grey over the circuit of Monaco at the moment. Like I was saying, the Constructors' Championship still to be wrapped up. Technically, all of the top three could still win the championship. McLaren are still in with a shout as well as AlphaTauri, who are currently the leaders, and Aston Martin in P2. So we will have to wait and see how it all gets going here in Monaco. Like I was saying, hopefully, let's have a look, and just fingers crossed the stream is working as well. It seems like it's ticking down, which is good news. I think it is anyway. Well, hang on, it says I'm on lap 1 of 3 there, so I'm not quite sure what's going on here. This is not going well for the first for the first part of Monaco, is it? Right then, let's have a look, and fingers crossed we can get ourselves started. There is a Alpine out on track, I think, of Ginner. He is, of course, the only Alpine on the circuit, I think, tonight. German has gone into the Ferrari there, of course. So that is actually good timing, actually, because German does race for the Ferrari in the Gold Division, of course, on Sundays. And the final race for the Gold Division will be in Abu Dhabi this Sunday coming up on 7:30 p.m. there. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be one more epic race there for Gold to finish off Season 8 here in Gold. But there we go, then that is that so far. Let me get the chat up. Where's the chat gone? There we go. Fingers crossed it's working. Is it working? Yeah, good stuff. Right then, it says we've got one out of 3 laps done. I'm not quite sure what's going on here, so hopefully it is just a visual glitch, and Ginny can set his lap time here in qualifying. But yeah, we've got some people on the intermediate compound tyres for the likes of Troy. Ginny there is taking it a bit more seriously. He's on the soft compound tyres. Like I'm saying, it is more of a shootout here in the in the short quali, to get yourself as far up the leaderboard as you can in the short amount of time. You've got 18 minutes, I think, although it's not popping up on my screen. So fingers crossed. That is sorted. I haven't got any of the game audio, so there's the game audio as well. Sorry about that. I didn't even eat it, to be honest. Serious mushroom there. I burnt my pizza, and that was me done and dusted there for dinner. So I'm going to have to try and get something for the. It was very dodgy on the pit exit. There was the Alfa Romeo. Of course, he was not even very aware of the Alpine flying through. Like I said to Serious Mushroom, I haven't been able to eat my pizza because it was completely burnt, as I put in the Discord. So unfortunately, that is that. I'm going to have to try and have some dinner tomorrow. Oh, not tomorrow. I'll have some dinner tomorrow as well, hopefully. That is well, hopefully have some dinner for this evening after the race. That is. Yeah, won't be pausing halfway through to break for a pizza break. Anyway, here we go. Then Ginner now coming round to the final corner. I'm not quite sure if there is game audio. Is there? Yes, there is. Good stuff. Yeah. So unfortunately, I had the game audio turned off there. So hopefully now you can hear the game as well. He's clipped the wall there as it goes into the Nouvelle chicane, and unfortunately that has spun the car around. I've been a victim of that myself, as Emerson can attest to as well. He was right behind me then, and he got caught out with my car being stuck right in front of him. A Reflection, they're retiring in the pit lane, I think. So that is a Reflection decided not to take part in qualifying. Of course, it's a long race tonight as well. It's 78 laps around here. Of course, it is a short lap time. Like I was saying, it is a bit of a long, well, not in terms of time, it's not that long, to be honest, overall. But it's one of the more duress races that we've got on the calendar. And there, German put himself up into P1, the 10.6 there for the Ferrari. Ginner, of course, we just saw clip the wall there. He's going again, I think, in the Alpine. So he's got enough fuel on board to get himself a second lap time in and try and get himself back up or further up the order, of course. Let's have a look at who's going to cross next. It's Sam Green. He's invalidated. He's going again as well. Sam Green jumping into the Red Bull there for tonight. And then we've got a Mercedes there of Sick as Muck there, who is on circuit. He's not. I thought he didn't have invalidation there, but he unfortunately has. Into the pits goes Kiki as well. A few drivers there having problems there on their initial laps. They're trying to get themselves around the circuit. Invalidations there for Kydell as well. Kydell has, of course, wrapped up P2 in the standings as Ewok there slots himself up into P2 as well. A 12.086 for the Mercedes driver. Good stuff indeed. Siege now coming round at the final corner to finish off the lap. And let's have a look and see what Siege can do here. In the Williams, he splits the two who've set the most competitive times so far. He's up into P2 there, 11.7, right in between German there and Ewok as well. Audio is fine, that's helpful. Good stuff indeed. Right then, like I said, I'm missing my pizza as Serious Mushroom knows. But Ginner there into P4. He's improved there to a 12.0. They're just behind Ewok now in P4. Swan Tracks as well, set a time there in the Haas. He's up into P5 for the time being there. Of course, reserving tonight. And of course, Serious Mushroom's teammate there. So he's going to be very happy with that, is Serious Mushroom. I hope so anyway. Up the order, we've just seen Sam Green there put in a time there of a 12.2 there on the medium compound tyres. So he is obviously on a bit of a slower tyre than those on the soft compound tyres, of course. But he has got himself up into P5 for the time being with a pretty respectable time there on the mediums as well. Up the order goes Sick as Muck there into P6, I should say, with a 13.5. So he's moving up the order there in the other Mercedes. There's a problem there for an Alfa Romeo there in towards the hairpin. And he's stopped on the middle of the hairpin there. That is not where you want to stop. And did that impact? It's not Vessier, it's Sam Green. I think it's Sam Green. Oh, my headset's decided to die. Hang on. I think that's good news, isn't it? Let me just double check. I've got me sources and everything going through. Yeah, that's all good. Perfect stuff. Yeah, so like I said, the Alfa Romeo, they're having a few issues there through the Mirabeau hairpin. And unfortunately has had a bit of a spin there as well for Beat there. Of course, he's one of the podium sitters there from the last race in Imola. And, of course, a winner in Japan as well this season. Let's have a look and see how he's going to fare around the streets of Monaco tonight. It's going to be a tough one, I think. 13 minutes on my screen, so that lap thing is a glitch, says Serious Mushroom there. So, yeah, it's just me, I think, which is good news at least, because it's just me then. So, well, like I said, it's probably more of a problem if it's everybody else, isn't it, than it is just the commentator. So, hopefully, like I was saying, when we do get to the end of that timer, then we'll be able to, of course, finish off the qualifying and get straight into the race, which is what we want to do. Teammate with the wallet, says Serious Mushroom. Yeah, supporting Swan Shanks, of course, who has got himself up into P9 for the time being as well. Martin is the other Alfa Romeo on track going through the Nouvelle Chicane right now. This is the midpoint of the lap, I would say. Well, actually, it's probably a bit further back. The midpoint of the lap, probably going through the final hairpin, I would say, is probably the midpoint of the lap in terms of the time on the track, that is. But around the midpoint of that, they're in Sector 2, that is, and now through into Raskas. And taking on Anthony Nodes, isn't it? The final corner there and up to the line. What can the Alfa Romeo do? Can he get himself further up the order into the top 10? He can. He's up into P8 there. A 13.1 there. Puts himself ahead there of Sick as Muck, who's on the medium compound tyres, like we were saying earlier. Same with Sam Green. His only time is on the medium compound tyres. Yellow flags. Yellow flags for a problem there. I think it's not Kydell. I don't think it's for somebody else. But everyone seems to be okay. I think it's a Red Bull, not a Red Bull, it's a Ferrari. They're having an issue. It's Kiki. Kiki has lost the front wing here before the tunnel section there in Sector 2, and needs to get himself back to the pit lane as well, cutting over the Nouvelle Chicane there as well to make sure he can get himself back to the pit lane as quickly as possible. But like I was saying, we don't have just one lap left. We've got quite a few more laps left, to be honest, because we've got 78 laps here tonight in the 100% league, and like I said, just waiting to decide what the issue is with the qualifying timer, because we have got the session underway, but it seems like it's having a few issues at the moment. Let me just go and double check on the host. Right. Okay, that's probably why. The host screen is just a black please wait loading sort of screen, so fingers crossed that is I don't know what that's going to do when we start the next phase of the lobby. I will probably have to back out as the host, and then try and get that sorted. AC Mortal there is retiring in the pit lane. Here comes Vintage there on his out lap. Let's have a look and see what Sick as Muck is going to be up to. Is he going to be finishing off this lap or coming back to the pit lane? It's going very quickly there through the swimming pool chicane as German there improves to a 10.1 there. It's going even faster as German there in the Ferrari. He's almost he's 1.6 seconds ahead as Sick as Muck enters the pit lane. 1.6 seconds ahead is quite some margin, especially around Monaco as well. That is looking pretty phenomenal there for German. If he can keep hold of that, of course, Vintage, not Vintage either. Sorry, it is Immortal and Troy there, who of course are very fast indeed. There haven't set any times or won't be able to set a time there in qualifying. So that is them done and dusted, unfortunately for them. Drive to Survive tonight. It is indeed, of course, we have of course said that if people are struggling, then they can retire in the pit lane to get themselves out of the way. I'm not sure. We don't know if the safety cars might be about here in Monaco tonight, because we haven't done a test on it or anything like that. It was Jenner's going very slowly there through the chicane. So he's got Vintage right behind him now, who is on a flying lap. So yeah, like I said, we're not sure if the safety cars do come out here in the Monaco Grand Prix if it's 100% distance. So we haven't tested that out at all. So there we go, as Vintage now coming through the Nouvelle chicane. Very good indeed. It looks like as German there has retired in the pit lane. That is him done and dusted in this qualifying session. So he is happy with what he's got there in this one as well. So that is him done and dusted there. Currently on pole position there is the Ferrari. Sam Green has improved there to a 10.7 at 5.6 there. He's still 0.6 off the pole sit as it stands. Here comes Vintage. Can he get himself on pole position as well as he goes onto the main straight there? He seems to be weaving around a bit, so maybe just getting himself ready to get going as well. He does set a time there for 13.6 there, but he has, so at least he's got a time on the board there. Serious Mushroom and Kiki yet to set a time. Kiki there we saw having a few struggles in the first few laps of qualifying when he was trying to get himself a banker lap in. And now Green there coming through the Nouvelle chicane. Very good time indeed. He improved. Of course, he did his first lap on the medium compound tyres, and now has done his second lap on the soft. So he has improved massively there on his previous time. Obviously, just switching on to the faster tyre as well, going through the swimming pool chicane as well into Raskas. It looks like he almost clipped the wall there at the exit of the chicane, but now into the pits he goes as well. Ewok there is going to come through as well to start off another lap in the Mercedes. And yeah, I think I'm going to have to just leave as the host and hope that whoever takes over can get ourselves sorted. So bear with us 1 second. Right, and I think that it seems to be still okay. I have, like I said, the host has had to leave, which is basically just my other account. So, but on a different console. So yeah, I've had to close that down because it was stuck on a black screen. So that I think is why I'm having the issues. The timer has now popped up. There's got 5 minutes left of the qualifying, but I'm not quite sure who the host is going to be now. It might just be myself, which is good news, I suppose, but it might be bad news as well at the same time. But let's have a look and see if we can just get a quick invitation over to can't invite because the game group has closed. Okay, that's interesting. So I think that means that I'm the host now, isn't it? I think so. Bear with us 1 second. Sorry about this. We'll try and get it all sorted. Let's see if I can search for myself and invite myself back. No. Right, okay. Well, we'll have to just deal with it as it is then. Hopefully we can at least get the race underway. 5 minutes left in the qualifying session. Here comes Ewok now round the final couple... Well, not final couple of corners, sorry. I thought it was further on in the lap. Coming through the tunnel section now as well towards the Nouvelle chicane. Let's have a look and see what Ewok can do there. Can he improve there from P5 currently on the grid and get that Mercedes further up the order? We shall see. As now we've got your Ferrari there having a problem there. It's the only Ferrari left on track there is Kiki there into the end of sector 1, heading down the hill towards the hairpins. But here comes Ewok now down through Raskas there up to Anthony Nodes, and now onto the final straight we go. Can he get himself? He was going purple there in sector 2. Let's have a look and see. He's up to P4. He has displaced Jinadad down to P5 and up onto the second row, I should say, there for Ewok. Good stuff indeed there he is. Only a few thousandths away from Siege in P3 as well, so he's not too far off there, is Ewok. Good stuff indeed from the Mercedes driver. Let's have a look and see if anybody else can try and hold a candle to that sort of lap time as well. Can they get themselves further up the order as well? Beat there has got himself up the order. I completely missed that, I'm afraid. Sorry for the Alfa Romeo team, but he's got himself into P3 there, where he of course finished in Imola as well. So we're looking good indeed there for the Alfa Romeo team once again in the form of Beat there. Looking good indeed. And Martin as well. I was going to say the other Alfa Romeo has got himself into the top 10 as well, which is good news indeed. Swanshanks is back on track as though he's just finishing off his outlap now. Is Swanshanks. Beat there just getting himself back round to the pit lane. And I think Ewok there is just getting himself through as well, back to the pits as well. 3 minutes left in the session. Oh, I think he clouted the wall there, didn't he? Yes, he did. He think there's a right end plate damage there for the Mercedes. They just needs to make sure he can keep it smooth back to the pits, indeed, and then he can get himself back underway, get that front wing repaired as well, and get ourselves sorted for the next part of the qualifying, the final shootout. I think this will be. There's still time for the drivers there to set one more time on the board. Gino, I think, is out on track. Swanshanks has just started a lap as well. So let's have a look and see what... Oh, it's lagging a bit there. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. So, yeah, that's an odd one indeed. Hopefully it's not me, because I don't know who the host... Well, I'm not sure who the host is now, to be honest. So it's a bit of an odd one, that. But there we go. As we go down towards the Nouvelle Chicane once again for the Haas driver. And now... down towards the swimming pool chicane as well, making sure you get that angle right as you turn in as fast as you can, and he has done very nicely indeed in the Haas. Good stuff indeed as you go through the swimming pool chicane now and up towards Raskas again. Oh, he clouted the wall there at the exit of Anthony Nodes. That is not exactly the best, the optimal racing line there. He does improve, though, to 11th there with a 13.491. But unfortunately for Swanshanks, he might have a bit of damage there on that end plate there now for the Haas driver, or Haas car, I should say. Not what he wanted, I don't think, in that Haas. It's going to slow him down, especially if he's trying to go through another lap there. But I think that's his qualifying done and dusted here in Monaco for the Haas driver. Unfortunately, he's got the outlaps there for Vessier and... Oh, no, I think it's for... yes, it is Vessier, sorry. Vessier there, and the Alfa Romeo there have beat behind. Ewok has retired in the pit lane, so that is him done and dusted in his qualifying session as well. So that is all done and dusted now for him. But let's have a look and see who's going to be the next. I was going to say, if Serious Mushroom is listening, potentially if he's allowed to as well, could he send an invite to my main account, my Knowlesy 80k account, because I just want to try and get that back in the lobby just in case there's an issue there for the stream, but like I said, fingers crossed we won't have any issues. But hopefully, if I can get that account back into the lobby, then at least as a spectator, then it's at least we've got a backup there. So yeah, if anybody's listening who can just send that account an invite, that would be very good indeed. Elsewhere, let's have a look and see what's going on elsewhere. We've got some Red Bulls there just finishing off their outlaps as well. I think Beat there just finishing off his outlap also, and then we've got an Alpine of Jinner coming through as well to finish off his lap. It looks like he's not got much ERS left to play with here as Jinner, and I think that might be him done and dusted as he does come around the final corner though to finish off the lap. Let's have a look and see what can he do. Can he improve up in the order? He can improve up the order, sorry, by 0.3 of a second even. Without that ERS, I thought he wasn't going to be able to improve, but he has gone up to P5 there. Ewok being pushed back down to P6 there. Kaidel crosses the line. He's invalidated on this run. Unfortunately, that is not good enough there for the for the McLaren. Up to P3 goes Siege. He's improved by 2.5 tenths as well in the Williams. Good stuff indeed. Up to P3 onto the second row as well. Beat there is on the track. Let's have a look and see who the next Ferrari is going to be crossing the line. It's going to be Kiki to set his only lap time, and he's up into P8 there with 1 lap on the board. That's not too bad indeed there for Kiki. Good stuff from the Ferrari driver. Let's have a look and see what Sickers Muck can do now, as he's invalidated. Unfortunately, he's going to be starting at P13. That's his qualifying done and dusted. Vessier is the next across the line. Can he get himself promoted up the order? He can, but all the way up to P3 with a fantastic lap time indeed. Look at that from the from Vessier there, the Red Bull. We saw a Red Bull 1-2 yesterday in bronze, didn't we? It's a 2-3 with German there on pole position as it stands. As Green has gone. Oh, what's happened there? He just said he got the fastest lap, but of course German's got a faster lap than that already. So not very. I'm not sure what's going on there. Hopefully it will resolve itself when we finish off the qualifying format. But there we go then. Your pole sitter for the Monaco Grand Prix is... Your pole sitter for the Monaco Grand Prix is Gernman there in the Ferrari, Sam Green there in P2, Vessier in P3, Siege in P4, Beat there in P5, Ginner there is in P6. They displaced Ewok there just on the final run. Ewok there retiring in the pit lane a bit earlier than I think than others as well. Martin in P8 there, and then we've got Kaido in P9, and I think it was Martin, not Martin, sorry, it was can't remember who it was there, P10, sorry about that. We'll have to look through the classification in just a jiffy. But there we go then. It won't let you, says Serious Mushroom. Oh, well, no worries. At least you tried. Thank you very much. And Kiki there in P10, of course. They're good stuff indeed there for the Ferrari drivers, both in the points so far, at the end of qualifying, that is. Vintage there in P11, Swanshanks P12, Sick as Muck in P13, Serious Mushroom there in P14. Didn't set a time, same for Immortal in P15, Troy in P16, and Reflection in P17. So there we go then. The pole time there, 10.164 there for the Ferrari of German. Good stuff indeed. He was almost half a second as well ahead of Sam Green, who was a very good lap time indeed there from Sam Green as well, because he's also there both 1 point, well, at least 1 second or so ahead of Vessier in P3 and the rest of the order. So fantastic lap times from the two drivers on the front row, but one hell of a lap time indeed there from German in the Ferrari. And we are ready to get ourselves going, I think. Like I said, Ewok has just said, evening, Alex. Looking forward to a good show tonight. Looking forward to a fantastic Monaco Grand Prix as usual. It looks like it's nice and sunny there in the around the south of France, I should say, for the time being. That is, we've got 78 laps, so there could be some time for the clouds to roll in. But it looks like the start of the Grand Prix is going to be A-OK for the time being anyway. So that is good news. Hopefully we can get the race underway. There might be some connection issues there for myself as well, I think, because like I was saying, it seems like I think I'm the host now as well, because I was the one who joined the session there after the lobby was created by my other account, but unfortunately Serious Russians have tried to invite, and I can't get that one back in either. So yeah, we'll have to hope for the best, and just fingers crossed that I don't get booted out or anything like that, and then we can at least get ourselves underway. I will just try and quickly invite. Can't invite players at all. That's done. Yeah, it won't let me invite at all, will it now? So that's it. Okay, well, we'll have to crack on with what we've got and get ourselves underway for the Monaco Grand Prix. Here we are lining up on the grid now. The formation lap, of course, is underway. Hards, mediums is the one-stop strategy. Medium, hard is the two-stop strategy. Of course, not looking like they're using the softs in the predicted strategies, but let's have a look and see what the drivers are going to be doing there, as they have selected some tyres as well. There is one set of soft compound tyres there for Vessier in P3, but down the back of the order, Reflection there on the hard compound tyres, Troy on the medium compound tyres. His teammate in the AlphaTauri, of course, AC Morto, is the championship winner here in the 100% League, the first time of this, or first time in the inaugural season of the 100% League as well. He is on the hard compound tyres in P15. Serious Rushman in P14 on the hards as well. Mediums there for Sick as Muck in P13. And Swanshanks, who is reserving in the Haas tonight as well, in P12 on the medium compound tyres also. Then we've got Vintage just outside the top 10 in P11 on the hards as well in the Williams. Kiki in the top 10 just about there after that very late run in qualifying as well. He got himself into the top 10 there on the hard compound tyres. He's going to be starting this race. Same for Kaido in P9 and Martin in P8 in the Alfa Romeo. So both the Alfa Romeos there up in the top 10 as well at the moment, which is looking good indeed. Ewok on the medium compound tyres there in the Mercedes P7. Jenna on the hards in P6. Same for Beat there in P5 in the Alfa Romeo. Siege in P4 on the hards, also in the Williams in P4. So looking good indeed for a first long stint. Vessia, though, as I was saying earlier, he got himself the only driver there on the soft compound tyres in this at the start of this race from P3. That is, he's looking for an immense start indeed. There is the Red Bull driver, his teammate of Sam Green on the front row of the grid in P2 is on the hard compound tyres, and our race leader, well, our pole sitter I should say, not yet our race leader just yet, is Gerlman there on the medium compound tyres. All right, then the driver is ready to get going. We are just lining up the last driver just coming through, Anthony Nodes now, to get himself sorted onto the grid. We get ourselves going, and like I said, hopefully we get a better angle of the start as well. I think this is going to be the best we can hope for. We've got a nice little smoke cloud coming out of the back of reflection there. But 78 laps here of Monaco, and I think we almost... Are we ready to get going yet? Yep, I think we are. 5 red lights are coming on here. 5 red lights are on in Monaco, and the 5 red lights are off in Monaco, and away we go for the Monaco Grand Prix. There covers off Sam Green in towards turn 1. Vessia with a good start, of course, on the soft compound tyres. Sam Green trying to go around the outside there, but his teammate is trying to get himself on the inside, and that is very close indeed. Sam Green's pushing the Ferrari up the hill there on the hard compound tyres as well, but I think now German has got himself the traction that he needs and the warm-up that he needs there to get himself going. Sam Green clips the wall there on the entry to the Casino Square, and unfortunately I think that might have cost him a bit of damage there, but it looks like the front wing is intact there for the time being. No position changes apart from Troy. We'll have a look there as we've got the position changes down the back of the order. Vintage dropped down, Sirius Rushman has dropped down, Kiki as well, Reflection, Immortal and Troy all moving up places, Sick as Muck as well, as Swan Shanks has got himself in the points. Yellow flags at the Mirabeau hairpin, and I think that's just for somebody going very slowly there through that complex of corners there, unfortunately, but it seems like everyone else has got themselves away nicely. Unfortunately for Kiki, he has not had a good start. Same for Vintage as well. Beat and Jenna switching places into the chicane as Vessia has got himself past his teammate and up into P2 now after trying to chase down German as well on those soft compound tyres. I think there might be some team orders there from the Red Bull garage. Troy and Sick as Muck switching places as well as we go through. Sick as Muck's had an issue, I think, as they go through the swimming pool chicane and now into sector 3 for the first time there, as I think Sick as Muck might have some problems there with that car. He seems to be intact, which is good news. German there sets the fastest lap. Of course, the first lap has been completed here in Monaco already. One hell of a lap time indeed as Troy now up into P10. He's up into the points already as well. Kiki and Vintage in the pit lane there. They must have had an issue there on the opening lap, unfortunately, for the Williams and the Ferrari drivers. They've had problems there on the first lap, which is unfortunately a big shame there. It's very easy to happen, of course, around Monaco. Maybe no heroics into Zandvoort was needed as a pre-race message there from the engineers, but there we go. German there has got a 1.6 second gap out in the lead. He's on the soft, or not on the soft compound tyres, he's on the medium compound tyres, of course, but Vessia is on the softs. Can he bring that gap down and get himself within the 1 second window that he would so dearly need? Sam Green has already dropped off the back, same for Siege, same for Beat as well, as he was battling with Jinner, but I think Jinner has had a problem. They let everyone back through, and Ewok is now up into P6 as Vessia picks up a 3-second penalty there through the Nouvelle chicane, and that is the first penalty of the night already, with only 1.5 laps done and dusted, unfortunately for Vessia. But of course on the soft compound tyres he's going to be flying through the race now at this stage of the Grand Prix. At least he's trying to bring that gap down to 1 second to German, and it is getting closer and closer. Ewok now is stuck behind the Alfa Romeo of Beat. There's a ghost car there of Jinner. I think he was just... No, I think Jinner's... He's got himself back underway, Jinner. Around at the final corner of Anthony Nodes. There goes everybody through safely, safe and sound, I should say. It looks like at the moment. It seems like everybody's safe and sound. Here comes AC Immortal there, trying to get himself past Swan Shanks now down at the inside into turn 1. It's going to be a move. He's got the move done before the braking zone even, and I think he's got himself up into P11 there very comfortably indeed there, getting himself past the Haas driver. Sick as Muck there is going to be waiting in the wings as well now. DRS has been enabled there onto lap 3 we go. Kiki there is out of the pit lane. Let's have a look and see what tyres they've gone on to. He's onto the medium compound tyres, same for Vintage as well. So at least they've got that sorted as Kaidel. Oh, what's happened here? Kaidel, there's a yellow flag. It's a yellow flag for down the back of the order. It's for Vintage, I think. Vintage off the circuit at the back of the order. He's dropped down behind Kiki. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but Kaido has been passed there by Troy. Troy, of course, on the medium compound tyres is going to have a bit more speed, a bit more grip there than the hard compound runners at this stage of the Grand Prix. He has got himself up into P9 there from P16 on the grid there, and now trying to chase down Martin in the Alfa Romeo there for that next position out the front of the order there. The gap staying stable now, just over 1 second there for Vessia and German there, but that's not what Vessia wants. He wants to get within that 1 second window. Swanshank, sorry, has been passed by the Mercedes of Sickers Muck there through into the swimming pool section, and up into P12 goes the Mercedes. Good stuff indeed. Reflection trying to get himself through as well. Serious Mushroom there just biding his time at this stage in P15, and let's have a look and see where the rest of the battle is going to be. AC Immortal now on Kaido. Can he get himself through and up into P10? He's up into the points now, is the championship winner, and he's up into, or championship champion I should say, and he's up into the top 10 now. Troy there is right behind the back of the Alfa Romeo of Martin. Let's have a look and see if there's going to be any moves down into the hairpins I should say. It's going to be close indeed if there's going to be any moves at all, and yellow flags for Kiki. Kiki's had a problem there, I think, at the exit of the he's got the front wing is intact though, but yeah, like I said, he's had a problem there, the exit of the swimming pool chicane there, unfortunately for him. Troy there couldn't get past, of course, into the hairpins. A very easy, or very difficult, sorry, place to negotiate, even on your own, to be honest, and he's not been able to get himself past the other car that's trying to block his way at this stage. Can he make a move there down into the Nouvelle chicane? It's going to be close indeed on the brakes there, but he has to tuck in behind, and that Alfa Romeo there is slowing him down now, costing him a bit of time there as we go through the chicane once again on lap 4. Swanshank's back ahead now of us. Swanshank's had a problem there. He's dropped down behind Reflection now as well. I'm not quite sure if Swanshank just went a bit deep there on the braking into the chicane. Unfortunately, lost out 2 places. Martin and Troy into Raskas. Troy going around the outside here, and has he got the traction there to get himself ahead there in towards Anthony Knows? He has done, and up into P8 now for the AlphaTauri driver. Good stuff indeed there, and this could be the AlphaTauri winning the constructors here tonight. Unfortunately, we did have reserves for Aston Martin, but they haven't turned up, so that is unfortunately no points there for Aston Martin, with Gamer and KD opting not to take part in this Grand Prix. I don't know why, but there we go. Yeah, unfortunately, no Aston Martin drivers there on the grid, and technically now it's just between McLaren and AlphaTauri. AlphaTauri can wrap it up tonight. If they do so, that will be, of course, another championship there for the AlphaTauri team, as Kiki there having issues at the back of the grid. Not sure what he's trying to do there. He seems to be just doing donuts for the sake of it now, but he's got himself pointing in the right direction. His teammate, though, is in the lead by 3 seconds. Here is German. He's looking good indeed. There is German in the Ferrari, and looking like he could be on a charge as well. 5-second penalty for Kiki speeding in the pit lane. I thought it was Jenner as well. I think Jenner got a penalty as Kiki's pit and quit already. It's only 5 laps in there, Jinner. Not Jinner, sorry, Kiki. Jinner's doing all right. He's still in P7, but he's got a penalty to his name. That's what I saw pop up. As German, like I said, 3 seconds out in the lead. The soft compound tyres were not good enough for Vessia to get himself within the... Oh, no, and that's the problem. There's Kiki. He's left the session there, and that is exactly what we don't want, is people leaving... Oh, no. Oh, dear. Troy has left the session as well, so I'm not quite sure what's going on here. Hopefully they can, hopefully Troy can get back in. Obviously Kiki doesn't need to get back in, he's out of the race already. But I think it's just Troy, as far as I can tell. I don't know, though, that's the problem. Yeah, it looks like it's just Troy, to be honest. So unfortunately, I don't know if Troy can get himself back in the session somehow, or if there's some way that he can get himself sorted. Yeah, that'll be that then. A bit of a shame there. Hopefully he can get himself into the lobby, back into the lobby I should say. But there we go, we crack on with what we've got. Unfortunately, like I said, Troy there was having a good race. He was up into P8 there, and was looking good indeed. But like I said, we've got to crack on with what we've got there. Unfortunately, Kiki there, it seemed like it transferred to him as the host somehow. But there we go, Jinner is in the pit lane there. So Jinner there has got a problem, I think. He's done 5 laps or 6 laps now on the hard compound tyres, but he's in for a scheduled stop, that is. That's a a scheduled stop indeed. That is onto the medium compound tyres. There's no wing change, unless there was meant to be a wing change. Unfortunately, there Vessier has switched back behind his teammate of Sam Green. Now 5.8 seconds is the gap to the in between the top two now, as German there looking good indeed there on the medium compound tyres. So that is looking all right for him at the moment. Ewok there is chasing down Beat there in the Alfa Romeo. Siege is also a bit of a bottleneck there between these two. Troy there is not in the race, unfortunately. He's just dropped out of the session, so he can get himself back in the car in a minute. Immortal there in P8 there, and Martin in P9. Kaido in P10 there, and then we've got a few more down the order there who just trying to catch up as well at this stage of the Grand Prix. There we go, good stuff indeed there. Up further at the order, Ewok there still putting the pressure on, but he's the closest battle on track so far between himself, the Alfa Romeo Beat there, and Siege. And I think we might see some other drivers there catch up to the back of the pack as well. Troy said, I need a new invite. I don't think I can invite you, unfortunately. It's just not going to let me work, not going to let me do it. So yeah, there we go. Can't invite players because the game group is closed. So unfortunately, unless there's another way of you getting into lobby, I can't do it, I'm afraid, which is a bit of a shame. So yeah, it just doesn't work anymore, I'm afraid. So yeah, whatever happened to the lobby has broken it completely, and well, luckily it was whoever the host is now. If they start leaving as well, then I think we're just going to have to call the race as it is, to be honest, and that'll be that. But there we go. Then Swanshank's in the pit lane there. Jinner as well is in the pits again, and I think this is why yeah, that's it. I think this is why we've got the issue. There's Swanshank, sorry, is onto the hard compound tyres for a wing change, and I think Jinner just didn't have a wing. They didn't change the wing at the last stop there for Jinner. They dropped down to the back of the field, unfortunately, with that with that scheduled stop. But unfortunately, it's because they didn't change the wing when he actually wanted it. So that is Jinner there down the back of the order. And that is him hopefully trying to get himself back underway. Vessier there on the 7-lap-old soft compound tyres. Do you reckon they've dropped off already? I'm not quite sure. It seems to be a bit of a stretch already. But like I said, he needs to get another few laps at least. Probably go for a medium, or for a medium stint. 2 medium stints, that is, after this soft stint as well. But he's got quite a far way to do that, to manage to get those soft compound tyres first. Here comes Beat there on the back of the Williams now, coming through towards the first turn. No moves being made just yet. Ewok there is tight in behind there, and Ace Immortal's got himself past Troy. Of course, Troy not in the car, which is a shame. Hopefully he can get himself back in somehow, or somebody can do something or other. But yeah, at the moment there, that is a bit of a shame there. Siege has got himself Siege is off the circuit. Siege had a problem there at the exit of the casino square, and that has dropped him down behind the Alfa Romeo Beat there and Ewok as well. Vintage has got himself past Swanshanks, has he, into Raskas. There's another problem there for Swanshanks, unfortunately. There he's into the pit lane, unfortunately, for the Haas driver. He's got himself more damage there, I think, on that Haas. We'll have to wait and see if there's going to be any wing changes or what we're going to see as he gets to the pit crew here. But yeah, I'm not quite sure if there is a wing change, unfortunately, for Swanshanks there, and that is not good news for the Haas driver or the Haas team. Gunter is going to be very upset with that, of course, isn't he? So that is that, I'm afraid, for the Haas driver. He's down the back of the order there, needs to get himself a new set of boots, and away he will go. Sam Green now in P2 for the time being. He's 8 seconds now off the lead of the Grand Prix, as I think that is Swanshanks coming out of the pit lane there. Unfortunately for Swanshanks, he's been lapped there. Siege has pit and quit. He's retiring there in the pit lane. Unfortunately, didn't see what happened there to Siege, but he seemed to have a problem there. Has he got wing damage there? Of course, it doesn't matter anymore. He's not in the race, but he has got a wing change coming. So Siege now out of the race. Was running quite comfortably there in the points. Unfortunately, there that wing damage has cost him his place in the Grand Prix, because he decided that he's going to have enough and leave the session there. Unfortunately. Yeah, I don't know. Well, thankfully he wasn't the host as well, so I don't know who the host is, of course. It's just a nightmare. So we just need to hope that if people start crashing out and leaving, then that they just aren't the host, or if they just crash out, then they sit there and hope that they can at least get to the end of the wait until the end of the Grand Prix. But I'm not sure many people want to do that. It just depends how quickly German is going to get himself around the circuit. It looks like at this rate. He's on to lap 11 now, and looking good indeed as he sets the fastest lap once again. And now the gap almost up to 10 seconds here in the first 10 laps. That's a second a lap there for German on the medium compound tyres in the Ferrari. Looking good indeed for the Ferrari outfit as well. But for one of them, unfortunately, the other one is Kiki, and he decided to call it a day early on as German's gone for a spin there. He's had a spin there at the top of the hill, got himself turned back around there. I won't notice that. Yeah, Sam Green there will be able to bring that gap back down now as he saw the Ferrari there going for the spin, and that might give a bit of encouragement there for the Red Bull driver, who's now seen the gap cut down to 4 seconds as we saw German there at the top of the hill just losing the back end of the Ferrari and coming over the crest of that hill. That just sort of spun him out, didn't it? So there we go. Like I was saying, the Ewok they're still putting the pressure on the Alfa Romeo there for P4 on the medium compound tyres. Of course, is Ewok, so he's going to be going a bit shorter in this stint than compared to the Alfa Romeo I'd expect. Of course, it's very easy to get some damage there, some problems around Monaco, so you never know how it's going to unfold. Troye there, unfortunately, not able to get back in the session. It doesn't look like as Ewok picks up another penalty. Unfortunately, that is not good news there for the Mercedes driver. But of course, we do expect a few penalties around here. It's quite easy to cut that chicane, and quite easy to get some warnings as well, especially through this swimming pool chicane as well. So unfortunately, that is that there for a few drivers there picking up the penalties. We do expect more penalties to unfold as Immortal there is trying to catch up to the back now of these pair as well. And there we go then. So that is that. There's Siege saying that he had 106-degree tyres. 106-degree tyres, not... yeah, anyway. So, yeah. I think there's something wrong with your tyre pressures there, sir. But there we go. Kaido into turn 1. He's trying to get himself past Martin now. Kaido, of course, is one of the drivers who picked up a penalty as well. On to lap 12. So we are... Where are we exactly? I think we're about almost a sixth of the way through the Grand Prix, so it's been quite a quick one, to be fair, from the start point. But yeah, unfortunately there for CJ, he is out of the Grand Prix. Same for Kiki as well. But like I was saying, we just need to hope that less people crash out, to be honest, because we don't know who the host is, and if the host leaves, then it causes more problems, doesn't it? So yeah, fingers crossed we can at least get to the finish line of this Grand Prix, and we'll get the classification there very soon, as Swanshanks has retired on the circuit as well. That is Swanshanks out of this Grand Prix. Where is that exactly? There we can see here on board. That is... Oh, he's crashed into the wall there at the exit of the swimming pool chicane. No safety car, so I'm guessing the safety car's still not coming out here in the 100% league, even though it is a different format than the normal 50% races. So unfortunately for anybody who is wanting a safety car, I think that is just showing that it's not going to be coming back. We're not going to be coming out anytime soon, unless of course it's just a glitch, and the next time somebody crashes, then there will be a big safety car. We never know. It probably might turn out that way. You never know. We'll find out. AC Immortal now is caught up to the back of this pack, this trio. Now AC Immortal, Ewok and Beat there are going to be battling out for P4. The Mercedes is first in line to try and make a move there as they go through the Mirabeau hairpin and trying to get themselves through the order there for the on lap 13. The gap now is back up to 6 seconds there for Sam Green. Of course, he got him down to 4 seconds with the mistake. But here comes Immortal. I think Ewok's made a mistake. He's lost out there to the AlphaTauri. He's not got any damage, but he's just let the champion go through, it looks like. So Ewok there pulling out of the way there from the AlphaTauri. I don't think there's any damage there for the Mercedes. Hopefully he can carry on if there is any issues. Looks like it's still drivable for the Mercedes driver, which is good news. But let's have a look and hopefully he can get himself back in the fray. Immortal now right behind the Alfa Romeo Beat there. We'll see if Ewok goes in the pit lane. No, he stays out, so it doesn't look like it's too serious there for the Mercedes driver, thankfully. So he can carry on at this one. Here comes Immortal into turn 1. No moves being made, but he's going to be pushing the Alfa Romeo up the hill. 13 more laps than I expected for Swanee, says Styles in the comments. Down the inside goes the AlphaTauri of Immortal, past the challenger there of the Alfa Romeo of Beat there, but up into P4 goes the champion, and now can he get his sights set on the top 3 on the podium places, and once again looking good indeed for Immortal after starting down the back of the order there. He's not had much luck when he started down the back of the order, but so far so good there. He's in P4. Probably commentator cursed him now as well. Martin is right behind the ghost car of Troy. Unfortunately, Troy can't get himself back in the session, and I can't send any invites to anybody, unfortunately, either now. And I don't think anybody else can, because Serious Mushroom said he was trying to invite my other account, and he couldn't get it in, so that I just had a backup just in case the stream goes down or anything. But yeah, unfortunately, that is the case. We're on to lap 15, and like I said, we're going to have to try and soldier on as best we can. Troy is being passed by Martin. Of course, Martin now getting himself up into P7 there, looking good indeed there in the Alfa Romeo. And he's got 12-second gap, though, back to the top 6, I should say. So he's got quite a bit of a margin there to try and bring down in the latter part of this Grand... Well, not the latter part, we're only about a sixth of the way through, like I was saying. But in this next phase of the Grand Prix, I should say. Kaidel is the next to try and get himself past the AlphaTauri. He's right behind the battle here with the Alfa Romeo as well. We did see, of course, Kaidel, that I think he was a bit closer last time. He might have made a mistake earlier on in the last couple of laps or so, but now going to get himself past the AlphaTauri ghost car, but then try and get himself past the Alfa Romeo is the next target. But he needs to make sure he gets himself past the AlphaTauri first, as of course through the Mirabeau hairpin. It was quite an easy pass indeed, but now he's got to try and get himself a 1.6 second gap. He's trying to bring that down there to the Alfa Romeo, as well as Beat there as well. Ewok is putting himself under pressure, putting the Alfa Romeo under pressure, I should say, as he tries to get himself through as well for P5. The medium compound tyres is into the pits, goes Vessier. He's done 15 laps there on the soft compound tyres. That is a pretty good stint indeed. He will probably come out in P6, I would imagine. There's Ewok, and Beat will go through, and he'll come out ahead of Martin potentially. It's a very long pit lane though, isn't it? So it's very frustrating indeed sometimes, trying to get yourself out of the pit lane as quickly as possible, and then you have to stick at the pit limiter there as he comes out there in P6 there. Good stuff indeed there. Of course, he has to cut the Sandevot turn and get himself back onto the track there at the exit of turn 1, and away he goes. Austria has said, hello, what is the fastest lap? The fastest lap, I think, is Gernman, and that is a 13.860 there at this stage of the Grand Prix. Like I said, he is on the medium compound tyres there, and he set that lap, I think it was about 4 or 5 laps ago. So that is the fastest lap so far. He, of course, is on the medium compound tyres, like I was saying, so there's quite a few drivers on the hard still, and a few other drivers there who are just trying to get themselves back in this Grand Prix as well. But yeah, that is the fastest lap there for you, Ostrid. So there we go. Right then, Vessier is the first driver to make a scheduled stop. Of course, he started on the soft compound tyres, the only driver on the grid to start on the soft compound tyres, and looking to now get, I think, onto a medium strategy from here. We'll have to find out. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, we don't know exactly how long the medium compound tyres are going to last anyway, so we'll have to wait and see how it all unfolds. Like I was saying, Gernman, well, the predicted strategy at the beginning of the race was a medium to hard, wasn't it? So that is probably what Gernman is going to try and do. He's got the gap back up to 9.5 seconds now to Sam Green. He just needs to make sure that those mistakes that he did have there at the very early part of the race don't come back as reflections being passed there by Serious Mushroom there into Anthony Nodes. That's one hell of an overtaking place indeed. He somehow got DRS as well on the Haas, so the Haas somehow got through, but the McLaren got the DRS there, which is a bit of an odd one, that. But there we go. Jenner is back in the pit lane there. Unfortunately for Jenner, he's not having a good time there in the Alpine. But again, another wing change there, and the medium compound tyres back onto that car. He's only done 1 lap on those medium compound tyres as well, so they're the set that he had to go round on after having made the stop there. Which where they were expecting, we was expecting to change the wing, but they didn't change the wing, and then he had to, of course, get himself back around on that 1 lap, on those 1 lap old medium compound tyres to get himself back to the pit lane again. But that time the wing change was done seamlessly, although it was unfortunately needed. But there we go, AC Immortal in the pit lane as well. So that is interesting stuff indeed from P3. He thinks he's going to have to call it a day there on the hard compound tyres. He's got a wing change coming as well here for Immortal. Of course, like I was saying, he's got the Constructors' Championship potentially on the cards to win. And he is in the battle there with Aston Martin, who currently have no drivers on the grid, so that is not a problem there for him. But he's also in a battle with the McLarens as well. So now Kaidel there takes hold of the position. Gurman picks up a penalty there as Immortal there very wide out of the pit lane entry, and that almost cost him a place there to he's cost him a place there to his teammate Troy. Immortal picks up a penalty for corner cutting there through turn. where is that? Turn 1 it must have been, so I'm not quite sure how he's done that. But that is another warning there for the another warning that he picked up there at the exit of turn 1. That's cost him the penalty there as well. Kydell is now about 5.5 seconds ahead there of his or Constructors Championship rival, that is. He needs reflection as well to get himself in the points there to bring the Constructors along in this ALR 100% League. Of course, this is the season 1 of the Event League. And of course the gold, silver and bronze has been going a lot longer than the event league, but this one it's been an entertaining season so far, hasn't it, as well? And I think this is one hell of a way to round off a season. Of course, we've got one more round. We've got the fastest race of the season as well next week, the final week there for the ALR 100% League, before we of course go on to F123 there at the beginning of June, or middle of June is when it comes out, of course, but we'll be starting the season a bit later on, a few weeks later than the release date there, so of course everyone can get themselves adapted and up to speed with the new game. But like I said, we've got from today actually, we've got exactly 1 week left of the whole ALR season, as Kaido, they're going very deep there on the brakes there in towards turn 1, almost clouting the wall there on the exit, trying to get himself past Martin. Ewok has got himself up into P4 there with, of course, Siege's retirement as well. Immortal's got himself back past his teammate Troy there, of course, on the fresh medium compound tyres. He's going to be very quick indeed. There is Immortal, so looking to try and get himself back up the order there after that pit stop. I'm not sure if it wasn't a scheduled stop, really, was it? Because he had wing damage there. He was on the hard compound tyres and probably wanted to extend the stint there to go onto the medium compound tyres and just do a one stop in this Grand Prix. But like I said, Monaco is very treacherous indeed. There, those barriers are very close indeed, and you can very easily get a bit of wing damage there on the car as they go through. Next season we'll have a red flag if Swanee is driving here, says Styles. Well, we don't know what we're doing with the red flags just yet, but we will have to find out if the red flags are going to be allowed around this circuit as well. Serious Mushroom picked up a penalty, unfortunately, for Serious Mushroom. That's his first penalty of the night. He's being chased by Reflection through towards Sector 3 now into the swimming pool chicane. We'll have to wait and see what the red flags are going to be like there in the new game as well, because that will be tested out before we get the season underway. I can guarantee that, because we don't want anything causing too much havoc in the Grand Prix. But like I said, to be honest, I think pretty much all it's going to be doing is a similar sort of thing as the safety car, but the difference is that it will be able to, well, you'll be able to, of course, come into the pit lane, and everyone basically is going to have their race sort of nullified, rather than just having the option of having it nullified as well. So, because of course under safety car you can choose whether you want to pit or not. Under a red flag you have to come into the pits regardless. So like I said, there's a bit of a difference there, but not too much of a difference, I don't think, especially in terms of league racing. But we'll have to wait and see what it is like as well. Here comes Immortal there through the tunnel. Can he get himself past the McLaren? Oh, down the inside there through the tunnel. It's going to be close indeed. Kaido, I think, yields there, lets the AlphaTauri through, and now Immortal up into P7, or back up into P7 I should say. He was up into P4, wasn't he? He was up into P3 I should say, actually, at one point, but of course now needs to get himself after the rest of the pack there, after that unscheduled stop there for the wing change. He's getting himself back up the order there. Can he get himself past Martin now into Rask as we go? And now Anthony Nodes there, the final corner there on the traction. Can he get himself enough power down to get himself past the Alfa Romeo there down the main straight? It's going to be close indeed, very difficult overtaking zone. Here he goes into turn 1, the yellow flags. It's for an Alpine of Jinner, I think it is. Jinner's the only Alpine left in the session, unfortunately for Jinner. That is him having a problem there at the exit. Oh, we're going through the tunnel now as well. Here comes Immortal down the inside there into Casino Square. He's got the move done, I think. Yeah, he has done before the right-hander there. He's up into P6 there, past Martin. And Martin, I think, like I said, probably a very wise head there. Knew that the battle was up there. He wasn't battling Immortal there in this Grand Prix. Of course, on the older hard compound tyres compared to the fresh mediums as well. The pace and the grip is going to be much more in his favour there for Immortal. There's Jinner's off the circuit again. They're in sector 3 or sector 2 now, but he's going to be lapped, I think, there by the, oh no, not lapped, sorry, that's the Alfa Romeo there of Beat there and Ewok going through. Unfortunately, Virginia not having a good time there out there at the moment, but like I said, hopefully he is the host now and he doesn't leave. So that's all I can hope for, really. But Ewok now is in P4, chasing down the Alfa Romeo. Can he get himself on the podium here as we go down the main straight once again? Lap 22, as Gino has retired. I think he's in the pit lane. Yeah, that's Jenna out of the race, out of the session, I should say. So unfortunate scenes there for Jenna in the Alpine. They're not having a good time around this track, and we are now on to lap 22 of 23. 23. If only it was only 23. It's 78, I should say. Here comes the Vessier down the inside of Ewok. He's made the move. He put his elbows in there and he put his nose in there. I should say first, but he's got the move done up into P4, past the Ewok, of course, on the fresh and medium compound tyres as well as Vessier. So it is not all doom and gloom just yet for Ewok. Of course, he has much older tyres than the Red Bull. Of course, he's going to be dragged along a bit more now. So like I said, it just depends on whether the one-stop strategy or the two-stop is going to be the best or the favourable strategy as well. It looks like at the moment. But we'll have to wait and see how it's going to unfold as well. Here comes Vessier now. Of course, he's now behind Beat on the old hard compound tyres. So this is going to be a lot more easier, I would imagine, there for the Red Bull to get himself past around the outside of Vasquez. No, not quite. He's going to duck inside. Is he towards Anthony Nodes? Not quite as well. He's going to have to go for it down the main straight. Again, traction on the main straight is the best thing you need. But unfortunately, like I said, very difficult to get as well sometimes. Trying to go down at the around the outside, around the inside as Vessier picks up a penalty there, cutting across turn 1, and unfortunately he's had to stay behind the Alfa Romeo there. Mortal sets the fastest lap of the race. He's got a 9-second gap there to this battle here. The trio there fighting for P3 now have got themselves a 9-second gap there to Immortal for the time being, that is. I would imagine that gap's going to come flying down indeed on those fresh medium compound tyres there for the AlphaTauri, and they will be under pressure very soon indeed from the drivers behind. Yellow flags, and that is for Ferrari. I think that's German, isn't it? Is German having yellow, or was there maybe it was a lap car or Vintage there, I'm not quite sure. But either way, Vintage has got himself back underway, or German has got himself back underway, whichever one it was. 15 seconds is the gap there to the leader. Or 16 seconds now. It's coming down, so there must have been a mistake, I think, from German there. Unfortunately, there he's got a 13.5-second gap now. As Sam Green crosses the line there, they've both got a pretty much a pit stop gap there to P3 there. So it looks like at the moment, I don't want to jinx it, but it looks like both German and Sam Green are going to be guaranteed to be finishing P1 and P2, regardless of what order that is. It depends on which order that is to be decided. Immortal picks up another penalty, unfortunately for Immortal. That is the penalties racking up. We'll have a look at the penalty situation. He's got 6 seconds now. Vessier's got 9 seconds, 3 for Ewok as well. So you can see the penalties for the situation for the drivers ahead of him. So he can probably factor that into where he needs to be. Here comes Vessier, trying to get up the hill side by side there with the Alfa Romeo there of Beat there. Around the outside, he tries to go. He's trying to hold it around the outside, but he can't quite make the move as there's a yellow flag for an AlphaTauri, and that's Immortal. Immortal's had a problem going up the hill. He's on the exit of the final turn, and oh dear, that is not good news at all for Immortal there. He's dropping back down the order. He's got himself back underway, and I think there is right end plate damage. There is right end plate damage there for the AlphaTauri again. Unfortunately, there for Immortal, there it's not looking good there for the AlphaTauri driver. He needs to, of course, well, to be honest, I think we'll have to double check exactly on the standings, but mathematically. Let me just look at the standings quickly. Yeah, mathematically, they do win the constructors if the AlphaTauri, if the Aston Martins don't score, of course, and if Kaido and Reflection don't score in the McLaren. But currently, Kaido is scoring 4 points. That wouldn't take the championship to the next phase. That would mean that AlphaTauri are confirmed the constructors champions, of course. But it's going to be close indeed. They need to score 15 or 16 points there. Does the McLaren team to try and take the title fight there to the next Grand Prix? At the moment, it is not looking that way. But of course, if Immortal there comes into the pits there, he will not. Of course, and he does decide to quit as well. Then that, of course, will mean that they don't score any points in this Grand Prix. Troy, they're not being part of the Grand Prix anymore. Unfortunately, not in the car. Will not be classified in this Grand Prix. So, like I said. It is looking unfortunate there. It looks like Immortal is back in the pit lane. Sick as Muck is also in the pits. They've done 23 laps there on the medium compound tyres, or 24 laps on the medium compound tyres. He's under the soft compound tyres now, so that is an interesting strategy call there for the Mercedes. He's decided to call it a day there on the medium compound tyres. Onto the softs he goes. Immortal will come back out the pit lane. Now he's down to P12, unfortunately for Immortal. They're not looking good as well. Immortal now a 5-second penalty for crossing the pit lane exit line, and that is exactly what you don't want to do there, as Ewoks there has had a problem there, has he? No, it's somebody else, as Swanshanks has left the session. Not sure. No, Swanshanks is already out, isn't he? So that is That is that. I think it was Immortal going slowly there on the exit of the final turn there. Unfortunately, picking up the penalties is Immortal there. I think that penalty will be served if he was to pit again, though. That 5-second penalty, that is. So that is that. Unfortunately, like I said, he seems to be ghosting going around the Mirabeau corners as he goes into neutral around there, maybe for a bit of extra rotation. If TRL Limitless is listening, then that is probably what it is. Yellow flag, and it's for a Ferrari. It's for German. He's had a problem there at the exit of the Nouvelle chicane. Back underway though is the Ferrari. It must have clipped the wall there, or clipped the curb there. It does stick out a little bit, doesn't it now, on this game? So, or has been on previous games as well, to be honest. But he's now got the gap there keeps on coming back down by a few seconds here and there, as he goes round the final corner, or the penultimate corner, sorry, Raskas, into the pit lane he goes, and he's going to call it a day there on the medium compound tyres there, onto a set of the hard, no, he's onto the set of the soft compound tyres now, so he's going to be very quick indeed there on this next stint. So let's have a look and see how it's going to unfold there for German on this next one as well. Out of the pit lane, he will come ahead of the Vessia. Sorry, I should say Vessia's got himself past beat somehow. I completely missed that, I'm afraid. Very sorry about that. But he's got himself a 3-second gap now as well, has Vessia. But German, they're out into P2. Of course, that Mercedes behind is a lap car, I think, of Sick as Muck. They're also on the soft compound tyres, though. Green now has the lead of the Grand Prix by 7 seconds there to German, of course, on the soft compound tyres. That gap will be eaten up as well, I think. Immortal has retired and left the session as well. That is Immortal out of the Grand Prix, which is a big shame indeed. That is only 11 runners left, of course, because Troye is not in the session either. So technically, or very, very close. It's going to be close to almost everybody getting points in this Grand Prix already. So, like I said, we're only about a quarter of the way through, a third of the way through. But there we go. Looking good indeed there for this one, isn't it? The final Grand Prix, well, the penultimate Grand Prix, I should say, of the season. But there we go then. Vintage there is on course potentially for some points as well. Of course, Troye is, well, technically he's already in the points as Vintage, because Troye is not going to be classified in this Grand Prix, as he only managed to do one or two laps, I think it was, before he disconnected, unfortunately, which is a big shame indeed. But but unfortunately, like I said, it's a long race, so if you're not in the session, you can't be classified. But there we go. Vintage will move up into P10 regardless now. The McLarens, this is where it gets interesting indeed. Now with Immortal, they're retiring in the pit lane, but potentially the McLarens could bring the constructors fight back into the fray there. They are currently the only two runners at the moment that are still alive. The likes of Alfa Romeo is still going as well, same for Red Bull, but unfortunately they're not in the constructors title fight at this stage of the Grand Prix. Or the stage of the season, I should say. But like I said, now they're on for a 10-point haul, and like I said, they needed to have at least 16 points, I think it is, to be able to bring the championship fight still to the final round of the season in Monza. They would, of course, always. Reflections had an issue there. He slowed himself down just in time, but Mushroom's going to go through there. The Mushroom now demotes the second McLaren down to P10, but I'm not quite sure what happened to Reflection there. He seemed to go over the curbs there of the swimming pool chicane and have a bit of an issue there. We've got 50 laps to go. Blimey, I thought we were flying through this race, but we're not actually, are we? So there we go. German's got the gap down to 2.8 seconds now behind Sam Green, as he sets the fastest lap as well, just to cap that off. 12.906 there for the Ferrari. Good stuff indeed there for German. That is one hell of a flying lap indeed. So that was almost a qualifying lap for me. I think there was a bit of wing damage there flying off the car in front of us. Is that an Alfa Romeo there that's gone off the front wing? No, it's not. It's somebody else. Vessia seems to be okay as well, so I'm not quite sure whose front wing that was. Maybe it was just a glitch. But there we go. Ewok now onto the main straight. He's losing a bit of traction there on those old medium compound tyres there as they go through Anthony Nodes now and trying to get the power down a bit too early, almost spinning the car up, or spinning the rear wheels up for sure. Unfortunately, unsettling the traction there. Kaidel has got himself back underway and trying to get himself past Martin now for P6. There we go then. That's that ready for the time being. Like I was saying, Serious Rushman and Reflection there will of course be promoted up the order. Same for Vintage as well, into the points as well at the end of this Grand Prix. And there we go then. So, like I said, it is. I think it's more of a race of attrition, like I said, than anything else. Like I said, the pit and quit situation has been sort of permitted there for this Grand Prix. So there's no penalties for the pit and quits as well, because of course we know it's not everyone's favourite And of course, it is one hell of a tough race indeed for the drivers to try and tackle as well, and especially 100% of it as well. So it's like I said, a very difficult race. As here comes the former race leader there, Gurman, on the back of the Red Bull of Sam Green. Can he make any moves there into the Mirabeau hairpin? He's going to be very close indeed on those fresh, soft compound tyres there. Can he make a move down the inside here? Looking like he was trying to shape for the move there, but no moves being made just yet. He stays behind now for the time being. A Ferrari battling a Red Bull here in Monaco. This is one of the sights that you want to see as they go through into the tunnel now as well. Here comes Gurman there. Can he make a move there down the inside? It's going to be on the Red Bull into the chicane. We can't quite see the right angle, but we've got the move done. He has got the move done very clean and tidy as well there for both the drivers, as Gurman takes back the lead of the Grand Prix there after the 3 laps there on the soft compound tyres. Yellow flags for a Mercedes of Ewok. I think Ewok's off the circuit. He's done a Rosberg, has he? No, he's not quite done a Rosberg, but he's slowed down before the hairpin for some reason. So that is that there. He's had to stop on his marks there and just get himself sorted again. Maybe he did do a Rosberg and just reverse back onto the track there, but he's lost out a bit of time there. Those 29 laps on the medium compound tyres, they might be screaming a bit at this stage of the Grand Prix. They've almost done the halfway distance as well, so that is one hell of a stint indeed. Kaidel is on the back of the Alfa Romeo there of Martin. Martin's doing a great job there in this Grand Prix as well. So it's good to see Martin having a good race here in Monaco. Of course, like I said, the penultimate race of the season there. We're going to be in Monza in a week's time for the final Grand Prix. Of course, the quickest race of the season as well is Monza. So we'll have a bit of a reprieve as we get ourselves speeding around the circuit of Monza and get the season wrapped up as well. Mortals not in the Grand Prix anymore. Ewok into the pit lane, onto the medium compound tyres here. So he has called it a day there. He's done one stint of 30 laps there on the medium compound tyres. He's now on to another set of mediums. Kaidel and Martin go through, and I think he'll come out ahead of the next group of cars. So Ewok there's going to slot himself into P7. Kaidel's got himself through there, up into P6, and Martin up into P5. They're yet to make a stop, of course, those two on 30-lap old hard compound tyres. His teammate, Martin's teammate, of beat theirs up into P4 there on 30-lap old hard compound tyres as well. Same for Sam Green in P2. So they've done a great mammoth stint indeed there on those tyres as well. Unfortunately, Troy is not in the session, so if he can get himself back in the session, then he would be able to claim some points. But he's unfortunately done about 30 laps here as well, but he's not been in the car. And those medium compound tyres, I think, will be getting towards the end of their sell-by date, as here comes Serious Mushroom there to claim that position on track as well. He would, of course, get it on merit. As Kaidel's gone off the circuit there into Nouvelle Chicane, I think trying to make a move there on the Alfa Romeo of Martin. He's dropped back behind, but he's cost him a 3-second penalty, unfortunately, for the McLaren, which is not good news there. That is going to be looked at, well, potentially looked at after the race, but unfortunately, I think that is his third warning there for multiple track extensions, and that has cost him a penalty at the same time as costing him a bit of time to his rival of Martin now. Martin's got a 2.3-second gap there to the McLaren for the time being. Like I was saying, Serious Mushroom trying to get himself past Ewok. He's got a Ferrari, of Gurman there right behind as well. So Gurman coming through there to lap the Haas driver. But of course, it doesn't matter that he's been lapped, to be honest. It actually is good news because he has less laps to do now in this Grand Prix. And of course, can get to the finish line a bit quicker than the rest of the order there. Gurman there on to lap 34. No, sorry, 33. So he's now got a 5.7-second gap there as he's getting himself past Troy as well. Serious Mushroom there is up. Not sure what's happened to Serious Mushroom there. He's lost out somehow to Troy there. But there we go. Then the Ferrari has got through as well, and now Troy there is in front of the Haas. Reflection there is in the points as well. Vintage, of course, is technically in the points also, unless Troy can get himself back in the session and back in the car. But I don't think he can. Unfortunately, he won't let us send invites to anybody now, so fingers crossed we can get ourselves to the end of this Grand Prix and at least wrap it up as it is. But there we go then. Down the back of the order, like I said, Serious Mushroom is the next driver to get himself past the ghost car of Troy and get himself up the order into P8 there. 4 points on offer there for the Haas. Of course, he needs to try and get himself past the AlphaTauri first, but he seems to be having a bit of a problem there. His Reflection now has got himself all over the back there of the McLaren now into the Sector 3 swimming pool chicane. We've got ourselves through there nicely indeed. For some reason, Serious Mushroom is having issues there trying to get himself past the AlphaTauri, and this is helping Reflection gain on the back of the pair of them, to be honest. So now Reflection in the DRS zone as well. into the pits comes Sam Green there. He's done 32 laps or 33 laps there on the hard compound tyres. He's gone on the soft compound tyres from here, so that is going to be an interesting strategy call there from the Red Bull driver. He's gone from the hards there about halfway through the race there, almost to the soft compound tyres. He's going to get out ahead, I think, just about of his teammate, is he? Yes, he is just about as well. As he exits the pit lane now, you can see the Red Bull of Vessier. They're going flying down the main straight towards turn 1, but he's going to be behind his teammate by about 2 seconds or so. Sirius Rushman's got himself past Troy now, which is good news, and up into P8 there for the Haas. Good stuff indeed. He's the only Haas left in the session after Swanshanks' retirement. Reflection is the next to try and get himself past and try and chase after Mushroom there in P8 as well. Like I was saying, with the point situation there, McLaren are 60 points behind the AlphaTauri. Of course, the AlphaTauri not scoring any points this race as it stands, so that will mean that McLaren there with 8 points for Kydell and 1 point for Reflection would score 9 points. That would bring the gap down to 51 points, so the constructors' title would be wrapped up there for AlphaTauri into the final race of the season there of Monza in a week's time. Into the pits comes Sirius Rushman, 32 laps there on the hard compound tyres, I should say. Troyer's car's carrying on. Reflection is also carrying on as well as they go down the main straight towards turn 1. Into Sandevot we go, and Reflection needs to try and get herself past the Ghost car as quickly as possible. Their Vintage is back up into P10. Sickens Mark there has of course stopped there. Has of course stopped for the soft compound tyres, but he's done 10 laps already on them. And into the pits comes Sirius Mushroom there. Troy has been passed by Reflection. Kydell and Ewok battling away as Ewok has got himself through there for P6 at the exit of the entry to the tunnel section, I should say there. Ewok there using the fresh medium compound tyres to their benefit as well, getting himself through the order and up into P6 there. Good stuff indeed there from the Mercedes driver. I think we're almost at the halfway point. We're at the halfway of 70, so we need to do another 4 laps there, unfortunately, for the halfway point, but we're nearly there. So that is not all too bad. Now into the... Is there rain falling now? I think there might be some rain coming down there. Oh dear, that's not good news. I think we've got some rain falling there especially the final corner, unless it's just a visual problem for myself, and maybe it is my eyes. But I thought I saw some raindrops falling there at the exit of Anthony Nodes. There is rain falling. I can see it there. It's definitely falling now through the casino square, and there is rain falling. Troy is in the pit lane, but of course this is his ghost car. What's it going to go on to? It's going to go on to the medium compound tyres. So he's done half for 35 laps there on the medium compound tyres and back onto the mediums again for Troy's ghost car. Unfortunately for him. Out of the who's that behind it is Sam Green. No, it's not. It's Vessier behind a Sirius Mushroom there, as he does come out ahead of Troy's ghost car as well. Now up the hill we go towards the casino square as well. Vessier's got himself ahead now. So, like I was saying, it is starting to rain here in Monaco. I'm not quite sure if it's going to... It's only just started to drop a little bit, but it's not going to be heavy enough just yet for it to promote the intermediate compound tyres just yet. But there we go. Then at the moment, at this stage of the Grand Prix, it seems to be okay for now. But will it get any heavier, or how heavy will it get as well? Is the next question. It looks a bit cloudy now in Monaco. It looks like as we get to the halfway point of the Grand Prix, this is where it's going to start to get a bit interesting as well, I think, because this is where, of course, if the weather conditions start to change as well, we have to wait and see who's going to be the favour, or who's going to be on the favourable strategy, who's going to be on the right tire at the right time at this Grand Prix as well. 24 seconds now, 25 seconds almost separates the top two. Vessier there is right behind there in P3 for the time being, beat there in P4, Martin in P5, Ewok now all over the back of him now on those fresh medium compound tyres as well, looking to try and get his nose in there for P5 as well as Ewok, after getting past Kydell there on the previous lap as well. Yeah, the rain definitely is falling now. I can definitely see it. I thought it was falling. It's definitely falling now. As of course it's going to make it a bit more treacherous as well through the tunnel section. Of course, that's part of the track. Usually stays a bit dry. Of course, it's undercover. That's why. So there we go. You can see Gurman in the background behind these three as well. These three now are being caught by the race leader of Gurman there. as he comes through now into the swimming pool section for lap 37. He's got himself past the McLaren of Kydell, but now needs to get himself past the Mercedes and the Alfa Romeo as well. There is, let's have a look and see where Martin is and where Ewok is as well. He's going to go for a move there down towards turn 1. It's going to be close indeed. Oh, as Martin there swerves over to try and cover off the Mercedes, and I think there might have been unsettling the Mercedes a bit there, and up the hill we go once again. Onto lap 38 there of 78. Like I said, we've got 40 laps to go, but we're at the halfway point just about. Like I said, we're nearly there. Nearly there as in we're nearly halfway through. So there we go. Good stuff indeed. Vintage into the pit lane. And what is he going to go on to? Is he going to go on to the intermediates, or is he going to go on to he's on to medium compound tyres? So he's decided to stay on the dry compounds for the time being. That might indicate that we expect the weather to abate very soon and stop raining as quickly as it started, to be honest, as well, as he's out of the pit lane now onto the medium compound tyres there. He comes back out in P12, but of course he is going to be getting ahead of Troy very soon, because Troy is not in the car. Yellow flag, not yellow flag, sorry, a very slow Red Bull there. What's happened there? It's to Vessier. Vessier's had a problem, I think, there through sector 1. He's got himself back underway. Oh, he's clipped the curb there on the, or clipped the wall, I should say, on the entry there to the Mirabeau corner. He needs to make sure he keeps his concentration, I should say, sorry, to get himself back underway there. He's doing a good job there in P3 for the time being. He's got a 21-second or 20-second gap there to the Alfa Romeo beat there in P4. Down the back of the order, Ewok and Martin switching places there into turn 1. Ewok's got the move done there, up into P5 finally. Sirius Rushman picks up a penalty, unfortunately, for Sirius Rushman. They're going through the Nouveau chicane. That is not good news. So there we go then. But on the medium compound tyres there, he's got to try and use the pace there on those fresh mediums there to try and get himself back up the order. Of course, there's still plenty of pit stops to come there for the likes of Sickers Muck, Reflection, Kydell, Martin, the likes of Beat there has to pit again. Vessier has done 22 laps on the medium compound tyres, so there will be more pit stops to come there in this Grand Prix very soon, as we are on the halfway point lap. We are on lap 39 of 78 there. We're almost there, don't you worry. So it's been one hell of a Grand Prix so far, but like I said, it's not so much to talk about in this one, because of course there's a few drivers there who decided that they don't want to take part in the Monaco Grand Prix as much as they want to take part in other Grand Prix, unfortunately. It's fair play to them. Like I said, the conditions are going to change as well, it looks like, so it looks like one hell of a Grand Prix to try and tackle, especially even in the dry compound, in the dry weather, that is. It's one hell of a challenge, isn't it? So if it's going to start to rain as well, then that might get a bit more challenging than it already is. But at the moment, Kydell trying to get himself after the Alfa Romeo of Martin. They've been passed by Ewok there. Of course, Ewok on the fresher medium compound tyres has flown past and disappeared off in the distance already after only one lap or so. So it just proves the fresh tyres there are the best to be on, of course. I think the majority of the field, they were trying to hold out at this stage for the rain to start falling a bit heavier so they can switch onto the intermediate compound tyres. That is either good news. It's good news there if it does start to rain for them, of course. It's bad news there if it doesn't, because then the drivers who pit for fresh tyres or fresh compounds will have much more grip and much more pace there, even if it's in these sort of conditions where the rain is still falling, but it's not heavy enough yet for the wet tyre compounds. So we'll have to wait and see which one it's going to be, which one's going to it's going to fall into which category, because of course, like I said, the weather is very unpredictable, and it seems to be unpredictable here tonight as well. Kydell now putting the pressure on once again there. Can he get himself up into P6? It seems like Martin's doing a great job there of holding back that McLaren. Of course, they're both on the same strategy as it stands. The DRS is still enabled as well, so it does indicate that it's not wet enough yet for the intermediate compound tyres. But usually when the DRS isn't disabled, that is when we put on the intermediate compound tyres and see what we can do from there. But at the moment, it doesn't look like it's wet enough as well. Sickers Muck has... sorry, not Sickers Muck, sorry, I thought it might have been somebody else. No, he seems to be okay, Sickers Muck. Reflection there in P8 as well on the hard compound tyres. A lot of drivers there have done the whole race so far, or 4 drivers there so far have done the whole race on the hard compound tyres that they started the race on. So that is one hell of a stint indeed there, over the halfway point there of the Grand Prix there on one set of tyres, and that is a very, very good consistency indeed there from those drivers. Kydell dropping off the back now of Martin. I think there might have been an issue there for Kydell on the first part of this lap. He's lost out now to the, well, he's lost out a bit of time there to the Alfa Romeo there. He's in P7 for the time being, though. Unfortunately, like I was saying earlier, that is not enough there for the McLarens to take the Constructors' title to the final Grand Prix of the season. It will be crowned, or claimed, I should say, by AlphaTauri there, who've unfortunately not had a good race tonight. But they just needed to make sure that they weren't outscored there by Aston Martin or by the McLaren outfit as well. And McLaren currently are scoring DRS has been disabled, so now it will be indicating that the intermediate compound tyres potentially are the best tyre. Not quite sure. It seems like potentially the dries might still hold up for another couple of laps or so. But like I was saying, Kydell in P7, that's 6 points there for the McLaren team, and P8, sorry, for reflection, that's 4 points. So that will be 10 points there. That's not enough for the McLaren drivers to carry the constructors over to the next round as it stands. Into the pits comes Sam Green for a wing change and intermediate compounds. So that is interesting stuff indeed. Reflection is also in the pit lane there. Same for Sickers Muck there. There's a lot of pit activity already now. Serious Mushrooms in the pit lane. Sickers Muck there follows him in as well. Same for Vessier. Vessier's in the pits too from P3. And he's back out, away he goes. This could be costly there for Gurman. If it starts raining heavily enough, it might lose him out there. The 24 seconds that he's got there to the Red Bull of P2 of Sam Green. Oh, I was going to say, I thought it was 24 seconds there, but it's definitely a lot more now than that. It's now up to 48 seconds, so never mind. I think Gurman is quite safe there, coming out in P1 still. But like I said, it was just the Delta not updating in time. There we go. He's carrying on though as Gurman. He's decided to stay out there on those 15-lap old or 16-lap old soft compound tyres now. We'll have to wait and see what the strategy is going to be. Ewok is in the pit lane as well, so he's going to be coming in and calling it a day there on the medium compound tyres, on to the intermediates as well. Beat has carried on as well on the hard compound tyres. Martin's in the pit lane. Kydell carries on also. So some drivers there thinking it's not time just yet. Troy's Ghost is probably a good indicator of who's doing what strategy to be on, and he's staying out on the medium compound tyres on that last lap anyway. Let's have a look and see. Vintage is now all over the back of him. He's in P9. Into the pits comes, out of the pits comes Ewok there in P6. Martin there in P7. Troy, of course, is not in the session there. Vintage sliding himself out the exit of the swimming pool chicane now in towards the Raskas, and they've both carried on as well. Troy and Vintage on the medium compound tyres. They've both carried on. Sickers Muckers pit for soft compound tyres, and I think that might be a good call indeed, actually, for the Mercedes driver. It could get him back in this race. You never know. So Vintage, there's a few drivers there. It's half and half at this stage, isn't it? So there's some drivers there onto the intermediate compound tyres. Some drivers yet to pit from the dries. 16 laps for the race leader as Beat there is into the pit lane now. He called it a day there in the Alfa Romeo from P4. Don't know if he will lose out there to Kydell. Unless Kydell comes in the pits as well, then that of course will mean that Beat holds on to that position anyway. So Beat there onto the intermediate compound tyres, and now trundling back down towards the pit exit. We've got Gurman in the pit lane from the race lead. Kydell carries on there. 42 laps there on the hard compound tyres. Gurman, the race leader, into the pits as well. And he is onto the intermediate compounds as well. Troy has been passed there by Vintage as they get themselves back underway. Oh no, he's let himself back, let the AI car back through as Vintage. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. As are they gaining? I think actually the soft compound tyres there for Sickers Muck there have done a good job there of getting himself back within the range of the top 10. It is not all done and dusted just yet there for Sickers Muck there, but of course there's still some pit stops to be made for those on the dry compound tyres if it does get too wet here in Monaco. Now we're on to lap 44 of 78. And it is getting interesting indeed now with this with these weather conditions. Like I said, some drivers there opting not to pit there for the wet trot, well, the intermediate compound tyres, and staying on the dries for the time being. We'll have to wait and see who is going to be who's making the right call. But at the moment, Ewok is gaining hand over fist there to Kydell, which would indicate that the intermediate compound tyres, as Kydell has got a penalty there for corner cutting as well. I think that just means that there's not so much grip there on the dries now in these conditions. So I think the intermediates are the best tyre to be on as Ewok there flies around now into the swimming pool section, and can he get himself he's going to get himself within 1 second range, I think, of the McLaren very soon indeed. Troy and Troy's Ghost car and Vintage are having a great battle here indeed, as Vintage now up into P8. Kydell is in the pit lane now. He's called it a day on those hard compound tyres. 44 laps there on the hard compound tyres, and he has put the intermediate compound tyres onto that McLaren as well now. So that is him dropping down the order past Ewok. Will Martin get out ahead of him as well? I think he will. So that will be Kaidel down towards P7. Unfortunately for Kaidel, I think that's a late change of tyre as well. Has cost him cost him a few seconds at least, and cost him the pit stop strategy as well. Vintage is in the pit lane. Troy is carrying on. Sick as Muck is also carrying on as well. So let's have a look and see. I think Vintage will go on to the intermediates potentially here and call it a day there on the dry compounds as well. Vintage is in the pit lane now. The rain is definitely falling a lot harder now, so I think it is probably time to switch over now as Serious Russian takes that place away from Vintage there as he comes out the pit lane now, does the Williams driver. So that is all of the drivers apart from two onto the intermediate compound tyres there. Troy, who's not in the Grand Prix, is on the medium compound tyres, and Sick as Muck there in the Mercedes is staying on those soft compound tyres that he pit onto only three and a half laps ago now, but when the rain did start to fall, he decided to call it a day there on the I think it was the medium compound tyres and go on to another set of soft compound tyres. So that it will give him a lot of grip there, but it just seems like I don't think it's going to be the right type of tyre now. As at this stage of the Grand Prix, I think it's just too much there from the weather, I should say, from the clouds falling, the rain falling from the sky. That is just even the soft compound tyres with their extra grip there can't hold on to the track enough compared to the intermediate compound tyres as it goes round into sector 3 again. Reflection now catching up to the back of Troy. You can see that is just reflection there on the intermediate compound tyres is catching up hand over fist there to the ghost car there of Troy on the medium compound tyres. He still stays out though, so that just indicates that the AI doesn't think that it is wet enough yet for the full intermediate compound tyres. So there we go. Sick as Muck stays out, but he's now losing time to the drivers ahead of him now. He's going to be looking behind him rather than looking ahead of him, I think, at this stage. Reflection trying to get himself past the ghost car now, as I think he will make the move very easily now as well. Of course, on the intermediate compound tyres, it's definitely the right tyre to be onto, a bit of switch onto, I should say, now. Sick as Muck, they're still battling on as well on those soft compound tyres. This is going to be good news for Serious Mushroom though. He needs to try and keep up his pace there and get himself up the order there. Of course, Troy is not going to be classified in the Grand Prix, so he'll be finishing outside of the points anyway. Sick as Muck there, of course, on the dry compound tyres is on the wrong tyre, I would imagine, at this stage of the Grand Prix. So if he has to make a pit stop very soon for the intermediate compound tyres, he will come up behind Serious Mushroom and potentially behind Vintage as well. So that is not good news there for the Mercedes driver. Out in front, a 30-second gap there for German there to Sam Green. It is looking very good indeed in the Ferrari. He's had a few problems there in the race so far, in the dry conditions that was as well. Through the earlier corner there at Casino Square, but luckily he's kept the car out of the wall and he's managed to carry on putting in a good job there here in the Ferrari there for the 100% league as well in the penultimate round of the season as well. And looking good indeed. Into the pits comes Troy and Sick as Muck there. So the ghost car now thinks it's time for the intermediate compound tyres. Same for Sick as Muck as well, as they get themselves back underway. German picks up a 3-second penalty there, just as I was giving him some praise there for doing a good job there. He's got a penalty there added to his race time. Vintage will come through there and take that 10th place as well ahead of Troy now. So that is Vintage now up into the top 10 on merit as well now, which is good news, rather than having to be moved there after Troy's disqualification. But there we go then. Vintage up into the points there. Then Serious Mushroom there in P9. Both the McLarens there are separated by 5 seconds or so, but everyone now onto the intermediate compound tyres. The oldest tyres on the grid so far are 5 laps old. So will we see the rain carry on there to the end of this Grand Prix? We've got 30 laps to go now left in this Monaco Grand Prix. Will we see the sun come back out of those clouds there and switch back onto the dry compound tyres? We'll have to wait and see. I need a drink, right, because my throat is dying at this stage. Sorry about this. Much better. Right then. It's gone a bit quiet out on track, unfortunately, at the moment. We'll ride on board with Sick as Muck there. He is the closest batter on track, but he's only 3 seconds behind Troy. Vessier picks up a penalty. We'll have a look at the penalty situation as well quickly. 6 seconds there for German. That is not very good news for the race leader, of course, the pole sitter as well. But he's got a massive gap indeed, a 33-second gap there, which should mean that he doesn't have to worry about that too much. Vess here there in P3 has got 12 seconds of penalties, but he's got 35-second gap there to P4. So again, that's not going to be too much of a problem there, unless there's any issues there for the Red Bull driver later on in this Grand Prix. 6 seconds for Ewok there. He's got a 20-second gap there to P6, so that is comfortable for him as well at the moment. Kydale's got a 9-second penalty. That is going to move him behind his teammate there, but that's just a McLaren switch of play. And Serious Mushroom has got 6 seconds, unfortunately, for Serious Mushroom, sorry, I should say. So that is going to move him behind Vintage as it stands at the moment. But and Serious Monk's got 9 seconds as well down the back of the order, unfortunately, at the moment. But everybody now onto the intermediate compound tyres. Will sit on board with the race leader there, who's done a great job so far in this Grand Prix. Like I was saying earlier, has made a couple of mistakes there, but managed to keep up the pace after recovering from those mistakes there to keep the lead of the Grand Prix. He did lose out very momentarily there for 3 laps or so then when he pit from the medium compound tyres to the soft compound tyres. And of course, Sam Green there pit from the hard compound tyres to the softs as well, to then give the position back there to German as well. So like I was saying, it's been a great race there from the Ferrari, from both the Red Bulls as well, I'd have to say, and both the Alfa Romeos then have done a good job there of getting themselves out the order. I'd have to say, to be honest, I'd have to say the same for Ewok, they're doing a good job, and the same for Serious Mushroom and Vintage as well, because all of them, and Sigurds Marcus of course as well, is doing a good job in P12 there. Unfortunately for Troy, he's not in the Grand Prix, but the drivers there who are still battling away in this Grand Prix, despite the adverse conditions as well, have put on a fantastic show for 50 laps already so far. It is one hell of a Grand Prix. It's a long not a long Grand Prix, but it's one hell of a number of laps around this circuit, keeping the concentration as high as they have done so far for this 50 laps. There is one hell of an achievement indeed. So they've got 28 laps to go there from this point on, and like I said, to be honest, I think they're just hoping that German finishes the race as quickly as possible, aren't they? So it's just now on German there to get himself across the finish line as quickly as possible. But like I said, it's been one hell of a Grand Prix to watch so far. And like I said, they've been putting on one hell of a show as well. Unfortunately, Kiki, Siege, Swanshanks, Jinner and Immortal are out of this Grand Prix. They decided to call it a day there very early on. Not very early on, but earlier on in this Grand Prix. I think Kiki only did 5 laps, didn't he? As German, they're going very almost going very sideways there through the swimming pool chicane section, but he's managed to negotiate it very nicely done indeed. And now up to Raskas there for the 50th time there in this Grand Prix. Into the pits goes a Mercedes there. It's sick as muck there into the pits. He's on to another set of no, he's left the session there, unfortunately. I'm not sure why he didn't just retire in the pit lane then, but he's not going to be classified regardless. So that is technically our top 10 sorted, because Troy is not in the car. Same for Sick as Muck now as well. So those drivers there who are in the top 10 as it stands are going to be finishing in the top 10 if they can, of course, complete the race, that is. Of course, if people do retire from now on as well, then there will be less people classified. There will be less points on offer as well rather than that. So it would, if for example, only 9 people finished, then only 9 people would score points. Whoever finished in 10th or whoever retired in 10th would not be able to score any points there for their themselves or their team. So that is how it would work there for this the classification, that is. But at the moment, there is 10 drivers there still in the Grand Prix, and they're still battling there for the top 10 positions, and still going in this Grand Prix as well, which is very good stuff indeed there. So like I was saying, there's still some battles to unfold. I think Kaido might be trying to catch up here very, very quickly there to his rival, his foe in this Grand Prix of Martin. Of course, Martin and Kaido were battling along very, very aggressively, quite consistently as well, to be honest, in the dry compounds, on the dry compounds I should say, but now onto the intermediate compound tyres as well. They're going to be trying to reignite their battle here. Of course, it's going to be a lot harder to overtake in the wet conditions as well, because they are not on the have DRS or anything like that, although the DRS around here I would say is not very effective anyway. But there we go then. 25 laps to go now, as German has started lap 52. And we are nearly, well, we're definitely in the final phase there, the twilight zone. As Kydell clips the wall there into the swimming pool chicane. Not quite, no damage, I don't think. It doesn't look like the end plate is still there on the McLaren. He's really going for it now. He's right on the back of that Alfa Romeo there, as it's going to be very difficult indeed to make a pass there in these conditions as well. But let's have a look and see. Hopefully this is not a prelude. Of course it is a prelude to the IRL Grand Prix, which is on Sunday this weekend in Monaco, of course. So like I was saying, it is going to be one hell of a the final preview from the 100% League. Of course, we don't have Monza we do have Monza later on in the F1 calendar, but it is later on in September, I believe it is. So it's not going to be it's the final race for the ALR 100% League, but not for the F1 calendar, unfortunately. So anyway, this is the final preview, like I was saying, of the F1 calendar ahead of time. Of course, the best one from my memory of the season as well was definitely the Australian Grand Prix, where we had absolutely chaotic race, and then exactly the same happened on the Sunday as well, didn't it? So that was my fondest memory there of the ALR 100% League for sure, where we had that we had the absolute chaos indeed there from on the Wednesday, and then we had the absolute chaos on the Sunday as well. That was quite interesting indeed there. But like I said, it's been, like I said, if it turns out like this on Sunday, we have seen some flooding in Monaco as well. I believe there's been some issues there with the weather in Monaco also. But I don't think it's as bad as Imola. Of course, the Imola Grand Prix, the official Imola Grand Prix was cancelled. Well, not cancelled actually, it's been postponed. So it could technically still be back on the calendar at some point in the year. But whether they're going to reschedule it or not, I don't know. We'll have to find out. But there we go then. So there we go. Kydell there coming down the main straight, still trying to get himself past, but he's now got a Red Bull for company, and that Red Bull is Vessia there in P3. Of course, he's going to be bringing along the rest of the crew, as I think he's got the McLaren of Reflection as well, is also at the back of this queue as well. So Reflection now is caught up to the back of his teammate and Martin as well. So there could be some team orders here. Is there going to be some team orders here? I think so, yes. Reflection now up the order there into P7. So Zach Brown has been on the radio there and said time for the McLaren drivers to switch around there, and they have done. Kydell into the wall there. Needs to make sure he keeps the concentration up. He's got himself P2 in the championship, already confirmed, but he needs to make sure he finishes the race as well. But there we go. Reflection now up into P7 after getting past his teammate there, and now he can get his sights set on the Alfa Romeo of Martin there as well. They go through the Nouvelle chicane. Of course, the Red Bull there of Vessia has got himself through. He's been lapping these cars there. He's now up into he's up in P3, and he's now past the this trio there of battling cars. Martin now is going to be under pressure from Reflection. Reflection, I think, has got more pace than his teammate of Kydell in these conditions, and that is why he's doing such a good job there in this race, and that's probably why the McLaren switched places as well, as they went into the or just before the Mirabeau hairpins. But there we go then, down towards turn 1 once again there. No moves into Zandvoort. Kydell there has dropped off the back there of his teammate for the time being, but hopefully we'll get himself back in the battle there, potentially. Into the casino square we go once again there for the 54th time. Like I was saying, now we've got what exactly we've got. We've got almost 20 laps to go, 24 laps, 23 laps to go in this Grand Prix. I think actually we just started lap 55 there for German, so he's not too far away from this section of the track there. But here comes Reflection there, trying to get himself past the Alfa Romeo. This is going to be the battle, I think, for the race. It seems like the Alfa Romeo drivers are on point today. At least they're doing a good job of defending in the Grand Prix, because they've been keeping the Mercedes, keeping the McLarens at bay there for this Grand Prix. Unfortunately, the Red Bulls there have been able to get ahead of the Alfa Romeos there at this stage, and the Ferrari there, of course, of German there has been commanding in his lead in this Grand Prix as well. But here comes Reflection. He's only 3/10 behind. It's going to be pushing that Alfa Romeo there through the swimming pool section as well. It's going to be close indeed there. Of course, if you're following right behind the other drivers there in the on the order, especially in these conditions around this circuit, you can potentially be collected if there's any incidents there as well. But now around the final corner we go. Can Reflection get the move done now, as he's trying to put the power down a bit too early? Then the tyres there, the car itself trying to squiggle away from the driver as my headset started to fall off. But there we go then. Reflection now stays behind into P7 for the time being, and has to bide his time once again. He's going to get a bit frustrated behind the back of this Alfa Romeo, I'd imagine. He can be sitting behind, probably going to be able to paint the diffuser of the or draw the diffuser of that Alfa Romeo off by memory, I would say, after this Grand Prix. If it stays this way, of course, he's still got some laps there to try and get himself through there. We're on to lap 56 now of 78 there. We're almost there. We're actually probably over the three-quarter waypoint now, so it's not too bad at all. And we still have the possibility of it drying up as well. It still seems to be the rain still seems to be falling there as we come through the tunnel there into the Nouvelle Chicane, but it does seem to maybe be getting a bit lighter than it was in the previous laps there. So it's it could potentially swing back into the favour there of the dry compounds. Reflection there is really pushing that Alfa Romeo through. Sector 2 and 3 is where the McLaren seems to be much better than the Alfa Romeo. The straight line speed, I think, in the Alfa Romeo there is keeping that red and white car just ahead of the orange car. But here he comes now down the main straight. It's going to be close indeed there. But again, like I was saying, the straight line speed in the Alfa Romeo is much nicer. Very late on the brakes is Reflection, trying to make a move down the inside, but no, not quite, as he has to stick behind there. Up the hill we go once again. And like I was saying, it's been one hell of a Grand Prix so far. But like I said, it's one hell of a race of attrition. We thought Belgium was the race of attrition, I think, didn't we, really? Very early on in the season was Belgium. But no, it's definitely going to be this one as well. Only 44 laps around Belgium, but of course a much longer lap time than these the drivers that are setting these laps around here as well. Of course, in Monaco, we're coming up to lap 58. Which of course means we're only 20 laps away there from the checkered flag, but at the moment we've got 10 runners still left in the session there, and they're putting on a shift indeed there in this one as well. Here comes Reflection again down towards the Nouvelle Chicane. Can he get a better exit this time and then get towards the sector 3 line, or is he again trying to get the power down too much, or too quickly I should say, and losing the back end a little bit there in the McLaren there, and again through to the swimming pool section as well, and again pushing that Alfa Romeo through this part of the lap. But of course it's very difficult to overtake in this part of the lap at the same time, so if you've got extra pace there over your rival ahead of you, it is still very difficult to get yourself past. As we go back to the main straight once again there for the 57th time now, as German there is out in the lead there. He's got a 43-second gap there in the lead of this Grand Prix. He is coming around the final corner now to finish off lap 57 to start lap 58 I should say, and we are still well, like I said, we've done 58 laps there have been completed here in Monaco, and what a Grand Prix it's been there for the Ferrari driver, and for all the top 10 that are still going in this Grand Prix as well, to be fair. Hats off to them there for sticking at it. Reflection there is in P7 and trying to get himself past the Alfa Romeo. Still, this is the battle on track there between the McLarens there and the Alfa Romeo. Martin is doing a fantastic job indeed there of holding back the McLarens in this stage of the Grand Prix. And that is what he wants to do. That's his prerogative, of course. If he holds him up enough, potentially Serious Mushroom there and Vintage could catch up to the back of these two as well. And that might be more pain there for the McLaren drivers. But at the moment, there's a 16-second gap there to Mushroom there for the McLarens. And of course, Martin there doing a great job indeed there. He is 42 seconds behind Ewok in P5, but still holding on for some great points. Unfortunately, he picked up a penalty there, which is bad news. But he's gone a bit wide there through the swimming pool section as well. But unfortunately, like I said, it was just giving him some praise there. And of course, he goes and gets a penalty, doesn't he? So typical commentator's curse that is, unfortunately. But he's still doing a great job nonetheless. In P6 they're holding on to that position as well for the Alfa Romeo team. And once again, Reflection trying to fight down the main straight towards the Sander Vot turn, but no moves being made there. He's just too far back, unfortunately. Therefore, he's almost had a problem there coming out out of that corner there, and that could have cost him the place in the race. That not even the points paying positions, but it could have cost him his place in the race completely. Unfortunately for the Reflection, but thankfully for Reflection, I should say, as he seems to be putting getting a bit squirrely indeed there, doesn't he, throughout the exit of the corners now. But maybe just getting a bit frustrated of being stuck behind the Alfa Romeo so much, and that could cost him potentially if he doesn't keep the concentration as high as possible, as high as he's done for the first 58 laps, I should say, of this Grand Prix. But like I was saying, like I said, he's put on a good shift indeed, as well as Martin, as well as everybody else in the top 10 so far. They've all put in a good shift indeed. But Kaido has dropped off the back of this battle, and maybe just biding his time. The gap is coming down quite significantly there. Serious Mushroom now has got the gap down to 14.1 seconds. At this stage on the last lap, it was 16.2. So it is coming down it is coming down there for Serious Mushroom there to the drivers ahead of him. That is good news indeed. Vintage then needs to get himself a move on as well. Can he get himself some more points in this Grand Prix? I think he might be able to if they can bring that gap down as they battle through now to complete lap 59 or lap 58 for these guys. Of course, Gurman is the driver behind. He's going to be catching up to this queue as well soon, and that will be him trying to get ahead there for the next lap as Vintage picks up a penalty there through the swimming pool section, unfortunately for Vintage there. But like I said, I don't think it's going to affect him too badly because he's going to be within the points paying positions regardless at this stage of the Grand Prix. He's doing a good job as well for soldiering on. Reflection right all over the back still of this Alfa Romeo. This is the battle indeed for the race, it seems, for the rest of the race. We're on to lap 60 now as well as we start off the final stages of the Grand Prix here in Monaco. And I think, yeah, they're just ghosting there because you can see in the background the race leader of Gurman has arrived on the scene here, and that is not what they want to see, because that is looming in their mirrors now is a big Ferrari, and they want that. Ferrari wants to get through as quickly as possible. Of course, Sam Green is back in the pit lane. He has probably got a gap there. Is he got onto back to the intermediate compound tyres? So he's called it on the intermediates that he was already on. He's done 17 laps there on the intermediates already. He's going to come out, I think, behind his teammate as well here, which is not good news there for Sam Green. He wants to be ahead of his teammate, I would imagine. But Vessier flying down the main straight. It's going to be close indeed there as into turn one we go, and Vessier has got the place. I think he is ahead of his teammate now of Sam Green. Sam, of course, now onto the fresh intermediate compound tyres. Beat is now 1 minute behind his rivals there ahead of him. Gurman, of course, is now trying to get himself past. He's got himself past Kaido. He's dropped off the back there of the battle for P6, that is. Now through goes Gurman as well. Up the hill we go towards the top of the hill. Sam Green's got himself past his teammate there after making his stop there on the fresher intermediate compound tyres. Gurman now trying to get himself past the Alfa Romeo of Martin, and of course Reflection has let him through already as well. Same for Kaido, and the other Alfa Romeo of Martin now lets him through also. So that is the lapped cars getting out of the way, jumping out of the way there for the race leader. Into the pits comes Beat there. He's also called it a day there on the 17 lap old intermediate, sorry, I should say. He's onto the wet compound tyres there for the Alfa Romeo. Same for the Ewok in the Mercedes as well. So these two decided that it's too wet there for the intermediates. Now it's time to go onto the wet compound tyres, the full wet compound tyres, which is very interesting indeed, actually. We'll have to wait and see if any of the AI cars make their pit stops as well for that sort of situation, but no, not quite. Reflection, it is raining very heavily indeed. Now Reflection picks up a penalty, as I was just about to come on back to him and say he was putting the pressure on the wet compound tyres. The rain is falling very heavily indeed. It's just switched indeed. It's snapped there to the snapped over to the to potentially the wet compound tyres. There, the spray flying up off the cars now is quite incredible as we go through the swimming pool section once again. There into Rascas. Is there going to be any pit stops there? There's a right end player, I should say, missing there on the Alfa Romeo. That might mean that he has to come in for a wing change there. Reflection and Kaido are in the pit lane. That is a double stack there from the McLaren team. Is there going to be a wing change here for the Alfa Romeo as well? Yes, there is. That's going to put him behind the McLarens, I would imagine. Kaido has been serviced as well. Serious Rushman carries on there. He's up into P6 now with Serious Rushman. Good stuff indeed. Reflection there takes P7. No, he doesn't. Vintage carries on as well as yellow flags for a Mercedes. It's a Mercedes of Ewok there. Ewok out of the tunnel there has had a problem as he's got himself back underway. But unfortunately for Ewok, he's had a problem there at the exit of the tunnel there. That has lost him out there to the battle for potentially getting himself past Beat there. Serious Mushroom there, of course, yet to pit there for the intermediate compound tyres. He still wants to soldier on those intermediates compared to the wet compound tyres for the time being. But there we go then. So, like I was saying, Vintage is carried on as well, but Reflection is right behind at this stage. Sick as Muck's AI has pit for something or other. Let's have a look and see what he's going to pit onto. But he, of course, Sick as Muck is not in the Grand Prix anymore. Into the pits goes Sick as Muck for the wet compound tyres. Is Sam Green going to come into the pit lane as well? He is, and he's onto the wet compound tyres also. So I think he made a mistake there, unfortunately, going on to the intermediate compound tyres. He only did 2 laps on those intermediates before coming back into the pit lane again to pit for the wet compound tyres. tyres. German, the race leader, is into the pits as well. And he's calling it a day there on the intermediate compound tyres. Also onto the wet compounds for the final stage of this Grand Prix, I would imagine. We've got 15 laps remaining now as we finish off lap 62. I think we do anyway. Yeah, he's going to cross the line now, isn't he, to start off lap 63. So there we go then. And the race leader there is on to lap 63 now, so 15 laps to go now in this Grand Prix. Into the pits comes Vintage. Reflection now will gain that place as well. He has got himself past there up into P7. Sirius Rushman stayed out there on the intermediate compound tyres, so that is interesting strategy indeed there for him. Martin takes hold of... Martin's got himself past Kydell somewhere as Vintage is back in the pit lane there. He's coming back out now into P10. He will be ahead of Troy. Troy is in the pit lane as well, and Sick as Muck is too far back there, unfortunately. So that is that there. So 2 drivers there on the intermediate compound tyres now, and that is Vessier and Beatner's having a bit of trouble there getting through the final corner. Vessier there in P2, I should say, on 20 lap old intermediate compound tyres, and Mushroom in P6 on the 20 lap old intermediate compound tyres as well. So those are the only 2 left on the intermediate compound tyres. Everybody else is on the wets as Vessier enters the pit lane now, and he is going to be coming in there, and I think that will be a change there onto the wet compound tyres as well. Yes, it looks like it is there. So wet compound tyres now for Vessier. The only driver left is Serious Mushroom there on the intermediate compound tyres now, and I think the rain seems to be going sideways here, so I think it might be time for Mushroom to call it a day there, as Vessier has been jumped by his teammate there in the pit lane. It might be time for Serious Mushroom, to call it a day and switch onto the wet compound tyres as well. You can see the spray kicking up off that Haas. It is definitely wet weather conditions as he comes into the pit lane as well and gets that sorted as well. So he will drop down the order, unfortunately, for Serious Rushman after that extra couple of laps there on the intermediate compound tyres. But nonetheless, as we've got a pit, I thought the Alpine garage was open there, but there is no Alpine left in the session, unfortunately. Serious Rushman there is into the pits there to serve that, to service that car, I should say. Where will he come out compared to Vintage? I think he'll be ahead of Vintage there as Vintage coming around the final corner now. Serious Rushman is in the pit lane, but he's on the exit now, coming around at the first corner, I should say, into Sandoval, and he has made the move there. He made the position, I should say, kept the position, I should say, ahead of the Williams, but into the pits comes Beat there from P4. What's happened here to Beat there? Has he got a wing change on the cards for the Alfa Romeo? This is not good news there. He's onto he has got a wing change, and that is a new set of wet compound tyres going onto the car as well. Unfortunately for Beat, that's cost him that P4 position, and Ewok now up into P4 from there. Fantastic stuff indeed there from the Mercedes driver. Unfortunately, not good news there for the Alfa Romeo driver as well. And now it is more of an Alfa Romeo McLaren sandwich there for those 2 teams back in this battle, though that Martin has been Martin's come out behind Reflection, and Reflection has checked out in the distance, already 6 seconds clear of the Alfa Romeo of Martin. Kaido is back on the back there of Martin now this time, as their battle, regardless of the conditions, resumes as well. So Martin and Kaido are really putting on a show indeed here in Monaco. They're trying to get themselves through, but for Kaido that is. But they've put on one hell of a battle throughout all the conditions, throughout all the weather conditions we've had in Monaco here tonight. They've put on a great show as well indeed. But there we go then. 1 minute and 12 second gap there from German to P2. That is pretty good stuff indeed. As Ewok picks up a penalty, that is not good news. He doesn't want that at all, does he? So that is going to be added on to his race time, of course, when they do cross the checkered flag. We'll come up to that as we go on to the penalty situation there. It is 9 seconds there for Ewok, so if Beat can get himself within 8 seconds there of the interval time to that Mercedes, then potentially he could get that P4 back from the Mercedes driver as well, which would be bad news there for Ewok. Hopefully he can carry on and soldier on and keep that gap as high as possible. It's going to be hovering around the 17-second mark for the time being. Here comes Sam Green in the Red Bull trying to get past a Mercedes of Sick as Muck. I think Sick as Muck is not in the session at all, so it is a ghost car there for Sam Green to try and negotiate, as he has got past. But there we go then. Kaido's dropped off the back now of Martin as well. That battle is going to have to calm down for the next lap or two, as we're now on to lap 66. So we've only got 12 laps remaining now in this Grand Prix. Blimey, it's been one hell of a Grand Prix indeed, but like they put on a good show, have the drivers. Unfortunately, these conditions there have slowed down the lap times a little bit, which is why we were carried over a little bit as well. But like I said, it's been one hell of a Grand Prix so far, and even if, like I said, I think even if there's a big problem, then we'll hopefully be able to classify the Grand Prix as it is from here. But one hell of a Grand Prix indeed. We'll switch over to the penalty situation there for the drivers so we can see what the penalty situation is around the grid there. 6 seconds for the race leader German there, but he's got quite a significant gap there. I don't think he should be too worried about the penalty situation. Sam Green there has no penalties, which is good stuff indeed there. Same for Beat there in P5 there. Both the drivers with no penalties. Unfortunately, Troy hasn't got any penalties, but he's not in the race after the disconnection there. Vessier there in P3 has got 12 seconds of penalties. Ewok's got 9 seconds in P4. He needs to make sure he keeps ahead of the Alfa Romeo of Beat there by 9 seconds at least. Reflection's got 3 seconds. Same for Martin in P7. Kaido's got 9 seconds. Sirius Russian's got 6 seconds. And then Vintage has got 3 seconds as well. So, like I said, I think Sirius Russian and Vintage might swap places as it stands. But everyone else should, I think, just about stay the same position as they are. So that'll be that there for this Grand Prix. As it stands, that is on the penalties. Of course, that could change. And now we've got lap 67 underway. So we're again now down to 11 laps to go in this Grand Prix. We're almost there. Like I said, I think the drivers are just trying to soldier on there and get to the end of this Grand Prix. As it stands, it has been one hell of a Grand Prix indeed. Therefore, all the drivers are still going. 10 drivers there still plugging away at this race. And looking good indeed. Kaido now all over the back once again of Martin. I think just saving up some battery, recharging and refocusing there. And now the McLaren is back on the attack here. Up the hill we go there towards Casino Square for the 67th time. And it seems like it's the 67th time that this McLaren and this Alfa Romeo have been almost inside of each other there around this circuit as well. It's been one hell of a race between these two. Beat there picks up a penalty there. He was one of the drivers without a penalty. Unfortunately, now it's only Sam Green left without any penalties at this stage of the Grand Prix. But like I was saying, Kaido now back on the attack there as we go through the Mirabeau section of Sector 1 or Sector 2, I should say, and in towards the tunnel as well. Now, as Kaido there really putting the pressure on, trying to get maybe make a mistake, maybe force the Alfa Romeo into a mistake there, and see if they can he can sneak past there at some point, and then try and get himself through. He's gone deep on the brakes there into the chicane there. That is going to cost him as he's got himself back through. No penalties just yet, or no penalties popping up anyway. But unfortunately there, that has lost him a lot of time there. 1.5 seconds now is the gap. He was under a few tenths. Unfortunately there for the McLaren's going to have to buy his time once again and refocus and restart that plan. German there is leading the way there by 1 minute and 15 seconds there to P2, which is one hell of a race indeed there for the Ferrari. Credit to him as well. He's put in a great shift so far. We're on to lap 68. We've got 10 laps remaining after this one as well, so it's looking good indeed there. We've only got like I said 10 laps to go now, so it's going to be, what is that, right about 10 minutes or so, just over 10 minutes. So it's not all done and dusted just yet, but there's still some plenty of lap time still to be gained. But I don't know if Sam Green at this pace there for the Ferrari anyway, I don't think that Sam Green's going to be able to have a chance there of the race win, as Troy has been passed by Vintage. No, Vintage is in the pit lane, that is why. Yellow flags for a McLaren, and that is Kaido off the circuit as well. Kaido's had an issue, and that is bad news indeed. There's no front wing there on the McLaren at all. Vintage is back out of the pit lane, but he has dropped down behind Troy now as well. So we are not quite sure what happened there to Vintage. He had to come into the pit lane, and I think Kaido will have to come into the pit lane as well, because that front wing is completely gone now on the McLaren. And Sirius Rushman is going to be right behind him very soon indeed as well, as they come through the tunnel. Yeah, so Kaido will need to get that sorted for sure as he comes across the Nouvelle chicane very slowly indeed, of course, without that front wing. He just needs to make sure that, well, hopefully that doesn't impact Sirius Rushman's race as well, as he now close indeed there to the wall as they come round in towards Sector 3 into the swimming pool section as well. And it's close indeed, as Sirius Rushman needs to make sure that he doesn't go into the back of the McLaren here as well, because it's going to cause him more problems indeed than than a bad thing. So thankfully it looks like Kaido's got himself back to the pit lane, which is good news. Vintage, of course, is still going as well in this race after that extra stop as well. He will be classified in P10 as it stands, unless, of course, he does retire in this Grand Prix. We're on to lap 69 now of 78, as he's got a 13-second gap there to Troy. Into the pit goes Kaido's onto the wet compound tyres, and away he goes once again. And Troy there has got himself a place back from Kaido. So, like I was saying, of course, he won't be classified in this race. Same for Sickers Muck, because they are not in the cars there when they in this race. They haven't been in the cars, sorry, for a long time in this Grand Prix, I should say. But there we go. So out onto lap 70 we go as we come around the final corner once again from the for the Ferrari. The gap seems to have very much stabilised now. Kaido, of course, having made that stop, has dropped down to P10, well P9 technically, and Vintage has dropped down to P10 as well with the wing changes that they both had to make. Of course, Troy, like I said, not classified in the Grand Prix, so he will be dropping out of the points in this Grand Prix, and that will promote Kaido to P9 and Vintage to P10, I should say. That's it. Yeah, because I was going to say there's no in the penalty situation there. It is actually going to be Vintage there technically in P9 actually because of the penalties there for Kaido as it stands. But if he can stay within that 6-second window there of the McLaren ahead, he could potentially get that extra point there for himself and the Williams team. Blimey, it's been a long one, this one, actually. It's been longer than I thought, and I think the rain has definitely caused a problem for that as well. Into the Nouvelle Chicane once again there for German there. It is the 70th time we've done this one, and it is getting close indeed there to the final checkered flag. But blimey, it's been one hell of a Grand Prix indeed, this one. Like I said, one hell of a race of attrition, and the weather conditions have definitely played a factor into that as well. But now with that massive lead that the Ferrari driver has got there, he's actually, I think he's about to lap Vessier here for P3 as Vessier, and potentially get himself up the order there. And that is one hell of a feat indeed. He has crossed the line there to finish off lap 70. As I'm not quite sure what's going on there. It seems like Vessier is trying to block the Ferrari there, even though he's a ghost car. He's just trying to block his line of sight there. But the Ferrari is already through. And he's up into P1 anyway, regardless, but he's now lapped up to P3, and so that means only Sam Green is the only unlapped car in this race so far, and he's only 6 seconds behind there, because of course Vessier is only 6 seconds behind his teammate. So technically, Sam Green there is only 6 seconds away from being lapped at this stage of the Grand Prix as well. Would be one hell of a feat there, one hell of a show indeed there from the Ferrari if he were to lap the whole grid. But blimey, it's been one hell of a race regardless of whether he does that or not for German there. It's been an absolute spectacle there from the Ferrari driver. He's put on a show and a half there for us here in Monaco. Unfortunately, had a couple of errors, I should say, in the as Green picked up a penalty. That's everyone now with a penalty, unfortunately, in this race. Had a few errors there in the dry conditions, funnily enough. But now German there, since it's changed to the wet conditions as well, he's really put on a show and really kept that Ferrari there. Kept that Ferrari steady and absolutely rapid as well. Kaido picks up a penalty. That is not good news there. That is going to be good news for Vintage, though, later on in this Grand Prix, as German there goes into Zandvoort for the 72nd time now. We've got just 6.5 laps to go, 6 and a bit laps to go now. So we're almost there, don't you worry. But like I said, all the drivers there putting in one hell of a shift here tonight to get ourselves across the line here in Monaco. And so far, so good there for the reserve drivers there of German and Sam Green, currently on the top steps there of the podium. And Vessier has done a great job indeed there in P3 as well, with a fantastic drive indeed in the Red Bull. He's got the gap down now to just under 5 seconds there to his teammate, but I think on the penalty situation there, that will come back in Sam Green's favour, even though he's just picked up his first penalty of the evening. He has got much less penalties than his rival or his teammates as well there, who's got 12 seconds there for Vessier. German there is coming through there to lap a Alfa Romeo of Beat there, I think it was, as Sam Green comes through as well. Vessier comes through as well, so Vessier has lapped up to P5 as well, actually, to be fair. So Vessier's done a good job there in this Grand Prix. Just shows the pace that he's got. And there we go then. Sam Green is the next target, I think, for German there to try and lap, as he finishes off lap 72 now on to lap 73, as Vintage, I think, is the Williams driver. There's the sole Williams left in the session, unfortunately, as Siege is already out there earlier on in the Grand Prix as well. But nonetheless, Vintage doing a good job of staying in this Grand Prix as well, and is on for a point, at least potentially 2 points as well, for getting himself past the McLaren on the penalty situation. And of course, Troy not going to be classified in the Grand Prix, as he has not been in the car. So technically, Vintage is still on for some points here as well, which is not all doom and gloom just yet. So good stuff indeed. On to lap 73 as we go through the Mirabeau section once again there for the Ferrari, and he's really trying to chase. I think he's trying to chase down just for the accolades there, Sam Green there, to try and get himself a lap ahead of the whole grid here at this stage. If I was Sam Green, I'd let him go, to be honest, and then that makes it very easy indeed to finish off the race with one less lap to go. But I'm not sure Sam Green there wants to do that. He wants to make sure that he holds up at least the fight there as long as he can there to the Ferrari there in P1. And Sam Green has done a good job there regardless of what happens there in the latter stages of this Grand Prix. He's done a fantastic job in this race. 73 laps have been completed almost, and we'll be on to lap 74 in just a jiffy. There we go then, as we finish off the Anthony Nodes corner once again for the 73rd time, and now 5 laps remain here in this Grand Prix. So we've only got 5 minutes or so to go as we start the last few laps there of this the twilight of this Monaco Grand Prix. It's been one hell of an epic, one hell of a long Grand Prix indeed as well. We've been going on for over 2 hours already, because of course we started at 7:30 now. That was the qualifying, of course, and now the race itself. But blimey, it's been one hell of a race so far. Not so much in terms of the competitiveness, I would say, but in terms of the abilities and the speed and just the skill there of all the drivers that remain in this Grand Prix. They've really put on a fantastic show indeed. Kaidel, I was saying this as Kaidel's got himself an 11-second gap. I'm not quite sure if Vintage has had a problem there, but he's dropped off the back there as Vintage, and now that is costing him a place there in this Grand Prix. Unfortunately, there's going to be no points there on offer for Vintage if he's not in the car. So that is him done and dusted. Sirius Bashram's got himself on the back of Martin. Martin's been struggling there since he got passed by reflection in the pit stop phases for the wet compound tyres, and Sirius Bashram is now kicking on here as well. We've got 5 laps to go. Can Sirius Bashram try and get himself into P7 here and get himself even more points for the Haas team? He's currently scoring 4 points there, which is a good haul there indeed there for the only Haas survivor in this Grand Prix. He's all over the back there of Martin. I think Martin might have some issues there. He might have some damage there in the Alfa Romeo. Let's have a look on board with Martin. We can't quite see. Yes, there is a left end plate missing there on the Alfa Romeo. That is bad news indeed there for Martin, and that's why he's losing so much time as well. He's only got 4.5 laps or so to go with this Grand Prix. But this is costing him hand over fist a lot of time, and Sirius Bashram needs to make a move and get on with it. Of course, he's got 6 seconds of penalties that he's got to that will be added onto his race time. So Sirius Bashram needs to get himself past as quickly as possible now and try and get himself up the road by 3 seconds at least to get himself that gap there, to get that P7 confirmed. And unfortunately, this is just costing Sirius Bashram more and more time there as they go through into Sector 3 now as well. And I don't think he's realised yet that the Alfa Romeo has got damage there on that left end plate, which is slowing him down. Here comes the Sirius Bashram there into Raskas. Oh, it's close indeed between the two of them there. Around the outside goes the Haas driver. This is one hell of a finish there to the Grand Prix around Anthony Nodes there. Not being able to make the move there, unfortunately, was the Haas as they get themselves back onto the main straight and well now. Of course, the Alfa Romeo, they're trying to get away down the main straight, but again into Sandoval, no moves being made. But Sirius Bashram, I think, now has realised that he needs to get a move on there and try and get himself past that Alfa Romeo. He's now got 3 and a bit laps. Of course, they've got less laps than we've got on the timer because we've got, is that yellow? No, it's not a problem. Yeah, we've got less laps indeed because they've been lapped by the race leader, of course. So Sirius Bashram has got less laps to try and get himself past, but can he get himself past now? Down the hill towards the first of the Mirabeau section. He's down the inside there, and Martin's gone into the wall there at the entry, and unfortunately that has cost him even more left end plate damage if he hadn't got it already. Martin now dropping down the order there as Kaidel has got himself past Troyer's Ghost, I think, has he? Yes, he has, just about. We've got the race leader of German there joining the party here as we go through Mirabeau as well. Of course, the penalties will be added on to Kaidel, but Troy had not been in the race, so he will not be classified as well. So that is not too bad indeed. I'm not sure what's happened to Vintage though, but Vintage is still going in this Grand Prix. It looks like German is still has got himself past the McLaren there. He's got past Sam Green as well. He's on lap 76 there of this Grand Prix, which means of course that everyone else is doing less laps in this race. I should say. But there we go then, through into the Nouvelle Chicane there once again. And we are getting to, like I said, I've been saying it for quite a while, I think, to be honest, because it's been one hell of a Grand Prix indeed. Wow, I didn't realise it was going to take this long, to be honest, as well. And I think the conditions there have played a factor in that as well, of course. But blimey, this has been a Grand Prix to look back on as well. One hell of a Grand Prix. Unfortunately, not many finishes, but it's still been a fantastic one to watch indeed as German there crosses the line to start the penultimate lap now. It's lap 77 there of 78 there. We've only got 2 laps to go left in this Grand Prix now. And then we will crown the champion there of Monaco, because of course it is a prestigious award there, actually, winning in Monaco. One hell of a Grand Prix to win. Of course, it's probably the most famous one to win as well. So it looks like, as it stands there, it's going to German. Of course, unless any mistakes do happen, he will technically be classified. I think he'll be classified on the top step. If he were to retire on the 78th lap. I wouldn't want to risk it though, as he's got himself past Ewok there into the Mirabeau corners as well. But I wouldn't want to risk it though, because of course we don't know exactly how it would happen. But technically he's a lap ahead of Sam Green. So if he was to retire on the 78th lap for German, that would be the final lap already for Sam Green. So I don't know how it would work out, but I wouldn't risk it. Just in case, because I just wouldn't want to try it, to be honest. But nonetheless, as Kaidel picks up another penalty, unfortunately for Kaidel, that is bad news indeed. But if he can still hold on to that P9 position, I would say, with Vintage there, just outside of that 12-second gap as it stands at the moment. The penalties will come into play there for those two potentially. We'll have to wait and see. But German now coming round the Anthony Nodes corner for the penultimate time, I should say, to finish off. As Kaidel's had a problem there, has he? No, he's been passed by. He's been passed by a Red Bull of Vessier there. German there starts off the final lap here in Monaco. Will ride on board with the pole sitter and the race leader, as Kaidel and Troy are still battling away down the back of the order. But of course, Troy is not going to be classified in this Grand Prix, like I was saying, because he's not been in the car for the Grand Prix itself. So a bit of a shame there for Troy, because it would have been nice to see what he was going to be up to and how he was going to fare in this Grand Prix. But at the moment, it's German there who's going to be taking the plaudits here with a fantastic win indeed, it looks like, as he comes around the Mirabeau circuit, Mirabeau corner, I should say. Once again, he's got an Alfa Romeo there in front of him, which I believe is the Alfa Romeo of Martin. But Martin, I think, is going to be lapped once again. Here is the Ferrari is through there. Through the tunnel we go for the final time now for German, as he comes across the Nouvelle Chicane once again. Troy and Kaidel still battling away, but that is not very relevant, unfortunately, for the points pen positions in this race anymore. As now around the final corners we go for the Ferrari driver through the swimming pool chicane, I should say, and up to Raskas we go for the final time there for German. He's going to come round the final corner of Anthony Nodes and celebrate in style, as he's completed 78 laps around this Monaco Grand Prix for 100% distance here in Monaco to complete the Monaco Grand Prix and win the Monaco Grand Prix in the Ferrari. A fantastic race indeed there from German. He has led almost every lap there, apart from in the pit stop phases there, to win the Monaco Grand Prix in style there in the Ferrari and lap every single driver who remains on the grid. He has made sure he has lapped every single person there, all the way from P12 there of Sickles Muck there up to P2 there of Sam Green there. So that is one hell of a feat indeed there. He finishes a lap ahead of every single driver on the grid, who finishes the race as well. With one hell of a race from the Ferrari driver. Fantastic stuff indeed. Sam Green with a great race as well indeed in P2. Vessier in the Red Bull makes it a Red Bull 1-2 with a fantastic drive in P3. Ewok there in P4. Great stuff from him as well. Beat there in P5. Reflection, I think, will finish in P6 as Serious Mushroom in P7. Martin in P8. Troy is not going to be classified in the Grand Prix, so Vintage in P9 on the penalty situation. Kaidel in P10. Troy there is well, it's going to be 18 Immortal then in P13. Jinner there and Swanshanks, Siege in, and then Kiki. Unfortunately, Troy and Sick as Muck there will not be classified as they did not take part in the Grand Prix. But Serious Mushroom is going to come across the line there. It will come around the final couple of corners there to finish off lap 78. Well, I don't know what lap it is actually for him. It might be 76, it might be 77. But up to the line, regardless there for the Haas driver to round off the Monaco Grand Prix. Blimey, I need to lie down after that. That was fantastic. Good stuff indeed there from all the drivers there. Serious Mushroom there is the driver of the day on the screen, so we might have to give him that as well, to be honest. But what a Grand Prix indeed that has been there as well. As we finish off, hopefully we can get ourselves loaded into the what's going on here. We'll have to wait and see, but in the meantime I'll try and get the top 3 into the interviews for the penultimate Grand Prix here in the 100% league, like I was saying earlier as well. We'll add German in. Where is he? German, and who was the other one? Oh, we're missing the podiums. Quickly. There we go. Come on. There we are then, the podium there. Celebrations there for German on the top step of the podium in Monaco here. What a well, exactly where you want to be there for the Monaco Grand Prix. One hell of a Grand Prix indeed, and we'll have to get an interview with German, of course. I'm sure he's very happy indeed with that performance. Vessier is in the party as well. He is currently, well, he finishes in P3 as well, with a fantastic race from him. And Sam Green, I think, is going to be hopefully joining us as well. But we'll start off with the interviews now as well. With what a Grand Prix, I have to say. We'll come back to that, as it's been one hell of a long distance, a long time indeed, that Grand Prix as well. But there we go. Then we'll just get the classification sorted as well. We get all the way down to P11 is classified there. Unfortunately, Kiki, Siege, Swanshanks, Jinner, and Immortal, and Sick as Muck there not in the race at the end there, unfortunately, which is a big shame indeed. But there we go. Sam Green has jumped into the party as well. Everybody has been lapped there by the race winner, which is the first time I've seen that, I think, in any actual league race. But we'll start off with Vessier in P3. Vessier, great race indeed from yourself. How did it fare as we saw the conditions change there? Did you think you were going to be faster in the wet conditions, or a bit slower?
I thought it was I would be about the same. There were some points I was catching Sam Green in the wet, and then some points he would pull away in the traffic. So yeah, happy with P3. Just unfortunately I couldn't reduce the fuel, because I was too busy looking at tyre strategy, so I had 6 laps extra fuel for the whole race.
Well, it worked out in the end. Didn't matter too much. I think it does actually around Monaco. It does burn off quite quickly, doesn't it? So especially in the league racing, that is anyway. So maybe that was not too bad in the end. But a fantastic race indeed from yourself to secure the podium. Would you think when you were going into the race that you were going to have a podium on the cards, or you were thinking just aim for some points here and see what we can do?
Yeah, I was just aiming for some points. Quality at the start, I thought, being so far off the pace, and then I managed to set a decent lap at the end. And then, yeah, I'm normally not that consistent around Monaco. I normally hit the barriers and get damage in the tyre. So this was complete different change to what it usually is.
Well, that's good timing there for that one then, in that case, because you had to do 100% of it in this one. So, yeah, well, if that was going to be the swing, then that was a very good result indeed from yourself. Well done for Vessier there on the podium. Then you've got your teammate of Sam Green. Sam, what a race from yourself as well. I think, like I said, we saw it was probably going to be between yourself and German there from the starting grid. Of course, with unfortunately with Troy, they're having not been able to take part from the disconnection, and then Immortal, they're retiring in the pit lane. The 2 of the faster guys were at the top of the order straight away. But what was your thoughts there when it started to change to the wet conditions as well?
Yeah, if I'm being honest, it just got less fun as the race went on. I enjoyed it in the dry. I'm never confident / quick in the wet, so that was more just stayed on track than trying to be quick. Obviously, German was way gone by then, and my engineer decided would put on inters for I think I was 15 laps into the original Inters, and they put on the Inters instead. So yeah, yeah, I wanted to go on the wet, so the only consolation would have been I probably would have been maybe the only one not lapped, but who knows?
Yeah, I think you would have been. I think obviously we did in the comments box. We were a bit interested in why the intermediates went on for another lap, well, one more lap rather than just pitting onto the wets when a few others just started to pit for the wet straight away. But it sounds like it was a bit of a miscommunication from your engineering team, unfortunately. But still, a fantastic race from yourself, and like I said, from P2 to keep that position at least and hold on to that. No issues, no damage, and well, maybe a little bit of damage here and there, but still a very good a good drive there. But it comes with Monaco. Don't worry, I would have been in the wall way earlier than anybody else around this race, I think. But 78 laps around Monaco. Are you going to do it again tomorrow?
Tomorrow, no, I think I need a well-earned rest, to be honest.
Right.
But
I was just going to put it on for yourself, just you, if you wanted to do another race, but I didn't think so.
Oh yeah, no, never. Not after that one. If maybe another track, I'll debate it. But yeah, probably just bit of damage on the wing. Not having the right tyres on it maybe would have been 40, 50 seconds to German rather than a whole lap. But fair play to him. I mean, I know how quick the guy is from Gold, just ridiculous. So yeah, very happy with second.
Well, just on that note as well, we've got Monza as the final race next week. So if you're interested in that one, then there's Monza to come up.
Oh yeah, we will see.
That's the last one for 100%, of course, this season. But then we've got our race winner from pole position. I don't think you had. Well, you had a couple of problems, to be fair, in the dry. I did notice them, unfortunately. But apart from that, I don't think you had any issues at all in that race, German.
No, I just kind of lost my concentration a few times, and I would like lap cars and just kind of clip the wall. But yeah, I was just trying to push the lap everyone, which I've done. But I don't think I'd have got green if he didn't have to pit again. But yeah, there's not much you can really do when you're leading. So I've got to do something.
Well, you had to make your own fun, I suppose, at some points, yeah. But nonetheless, from pole position, I don't know. Did you get the fastest lap as well? I didn't quite see at the end there.
Yeah.
It was the Grand Slam then as well, so fantastic stuff indeed. And that is one hell of a race, one hell of a thing to do at Monaco especially as well. So credit to you as well for that fantastic drive. What was your thoughts when you got the pole position? Were you just like, right, that's time for me to cruise off in the distance and just and see how far, or see if I can lap everyone again? Or were you just a bit worried with Sam Green and potentially Immortal and Troy maybe getting through the field as well?
Mainly Sam Green. I just off the start. Obviously, my starts lately haven't been the best. So if he got me off the line, then it just makes it a lot harder. But I was first into turn one, so it kind of makes your race a lot easier then.
Perfect stuff indeed. That's your race winner there from Monaco, your Grand Slam champion from Monaco, I should say, from German, and lapping the whole of the field as well. I think that should be added to a Grand Slam sort of extra thing for a Grand Slam, that is. But blimey, good stuff indeed. What a race indeed for German in the Ferrari. Sam Green there in the Red Bull, making a double Red Bull podium there for Vestia as well in P3. Good stuff from all three of the drivers out on the podium today, and well done to all the drivers, to be fair, who finished the Grand Prix. It was one hell of a race indeed, I would have to say. We're on to the final race of the seasons now. We've got Abu Dhabi there for gold, silver and bronze there from Sunday, and they will be the final races for the divisions. And then of course the 100% league is in Monza for the final race of their season in a week's time on Wednesday. So stay tuned to ALR, plenty more action coming up, and we'll see you soon.